Embedded within this whole line, you got little spins that can produce a quick hit and run tornado. Gone are the supercell thunderstorms that we were tracking this evening, I should say, coming out of western Kentucky, producing likely a lot of damage around Dawson Springs and west. Here's that tornado warning just to the north of Bowling Green, where you can see on the leading edge of our line, there's a little bit of a spin here showing up near the Greencastle area. So that is our possible tornado with this cell to the north of Bowling Green into Warren County. So if you got some friends, family, some loved ones down there, it's holiday weekend. Folks are traveling, may not be in their normal spots. Obviously, give them a call, give them a heads up. Here's that tornado warning north of E-Town. This is now out of Hardin County, the Radcliffe area where we had that initial tornado warning. And I'm looking at this, and the radar here gives you a really good, here's the radar, by the way, near Fort Knox, and you can see the line, and we're looking for maybe a little bit of a kink in that. This little small almost appendage there, likely why we had that tornado warning issued. That could be a quick spin up as it heads its way to the east. Additional severe thunderstorms around the Louisville metro are going to continue to roll to the east, and that line extends back into western parts of Kentucky, where all of this action is going to sweep eastward across the state heading into the overnight. Our team coverage will continue right here on WKYT coming up here in just a moment. Of course, we're going to keep this going right on through the overnight, so keep it tuned right here.
Meet the future.
Central and eastern Kentucky. We have another big line of severe thunderstorms targeting the region right now, coming in from the west. We got all kinds of warnings that are out. Here's that tornado watch that currently encompasses the entire state minus 2 counties into northeastern Kentucky. That would be Boyd and Greenup, although we can't say completely with any confidence that there's no way that any severe weather is going to hit those 2 counties. I think that kind of is a little bit of an absurd look to a watch map, but nonetheless, we got 118 counties that are currently under severe thunderstorm or a tornado watch. Severe thunderstorm warnings that are out for all the counties in the yellow, and embedded within that, you see our tornado warnings that are out into parts of the region. That would include areas just to the south of downtown Louisville and across Bowling Green as well. First Alert Radar Network, we see this line of severe thunderstorms that is making its way to the east. Embedded within that, you got some little kinks that are showing up from time to time. That current tornado warning that is out doesn't have a long shelf life, but what we're dealing with this as of right now shows a little bit of some spin. And it is a small spin that has been showing up, a little kink in the line here along this boundary that is essentially to the east now of the Radcliffe area. So I wanted to look at that. It is right about here on the bottom of your screen. You can actually see a couple little bitty spins that may be trying to go up within that. But the cause for concern from the National Weather Service that caused the issuance of the tornado warning is that little bit of a spin that is ready to cross over Interstate 65 now. Here's Mount Washington. This is Bullitt County. Bardstown, this is the Nelson County area. So we got this tornado warning that is right here and gets into southwestern parts of Spencer County. Now, is that a typical major look for a tornado? No, it is not. This is no longer what we were dealing with a little earlier into western Kentucky, where we had these monster signatures for tornadoes that were showing up, where we likely had a devastating tornado again near the Dawson Springs area. We know that area all too well from December of 2021, that EF4 tornado, deadly tornado, Dawson Springs back toward Mayfield. Some of the same area may have been hit tonight by another monster tornado. The line of severe thunderstorms goes toward the Bowling Green area, where we are also seeing a chance for a tornado to spin up to the north of downtown Bowling Green. So we can go in and inspect that part of the cell as well. Now, this part of it, we're kind of getting away from the radar site, so we're not seeing that strong gate-to-gate signature of a tornado, but nonetheless, we got that warning that is for this part of the storm just to the north of Bowling Green here into Warren County. So this would be Interstate 65, the Horse Cave exit. We're familiar with that if you've traveled up and down Interstate 65, Barron County, the Glasgow area. And here is Bowling Green with that possible tornado that would be right about in here just to the north of Bowling Green. It is not a monster signature like what we had a little earlier, but definitely there is some more rotation that is showing up within that part of our storm. Not in downtown Bowling Green proper, and we're zooming in on this. We'll kind of expand this just a little more. Maybe some large hail showing up to the north of that as well, which a lot of times we get that around thunderstorms on the northern side of what may be a tornadic cell. Here's that bit of a spin that is showing Bowling Green, Plum Springs area, and points to the north. Greencastle, we were calling that a little bit ago with the rotation, Jim, that was spinning across parts of the Warren County area. So that tornado warning continues in effect for Warren County, and we continue with that little sliver of a tornado warning that is also coming out of Bullitt County into far northern Nelson County and into southern Spencer County as well. Action-packed,
To say the least, out there tonight with these storms that are now lining up left and right through that area and will continue their trek eastward into the nighttime hours here. So let's kind of regroup and let's look and see what's going on everywhere. Once again, you have that line that is loaded up and headed into central and eventually into southern and eastern Kentucky as well. You can see where it's most intense. You can see where all the warnings are along this as well, and they are certainly out there. The one that's knocking on our immediate door is that warning you see north of Bardstown right now. That's a tornado warning that is out for that Bullitt, Nelson, Spencer County areas. That I couldn't see the back edge of it because it kind of faded into the red, but that goes through midnight. So you got about 20 minutes left on that one, that tornado warning.
Yeah, Jim, that particular part of the line, by the way, is moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. So it is wasting no time. By the way, the Warren County tornado warning has been allowed to expire, so that is certainly some good news. That storm is weakened just a little bit, no longer considered to be tornadic, but you look at the forward motion of these storms that are now racing to the east and northeast at 55 miles an hour. Well, at 55 miles per hour, we can expand this out to show you where that would take it in 1 hour from now. That would be toward Taylorsville, Harrisonville, the Frankfort and Midway areas into the Bluegrass region, coming up around 12:30, give or take just a little bit tonight, if that holds together and continues on this same speed. And obviously, you know, we're dealing with a big line of thunderstorms that's really going to race across the entire area. But also noticing, Jim, just out ahead of this, a couple of little thunderstorms are trying to pop as well ahead of the main line. This will be on top of Shelbyville, eastern parts of Shelby County. We will watch to see what kind of interaction we get with that line as it sweeps in from the west. Sometimes you get a thunderstorm that develops out ahead of this line, and that as that line kind of absorbs it, they come together a little bit. It can sometimes be just enough to set off one of those little bitty spins embedded within that line, and that's what we're going to be watching for with that stuff heading into Shelby County.
And that's where it's headed right now. I mean, you can already see that, and that merger will likely happen here in
it
just
looks
a
like
few
the
minutes,
tornado
right?
warning is gone, so
it
that's
is gone.
Good news.
Yeah. But they continue to issue severe thunderstorm warnings down the line, and eventually they'll sink into our area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop up the warnings for you now that we've had some changes with those, so you can see how they all come together here. And you've got a bit of a broken area of warnings. You've got one around Louisville up to Shelbyville, and then you got one big gap along 65, and then you pick up again going along southern parts of 65 all the way down to the Kentucky-Tennessee state line, of course, north of Nashville here right now as we approach about, you've got about 17 minutes until the top of the hour, going into the midnight hour here very shortly, Chris.
You know, I was just looking at some data, Jim, just a little bit ago as these storms made their way through Greenville, Muhlenberg County. 71 mile per hour wind gusts officially recorded at the Kentucky Mesonet site there in Muhlenberg County. And we just had a 58 mile per hour wind gust a little bit ago with that line of thunderstorms to the north of that as well. So storms are still packing quite a bit of a damaging wind punch as they make their way to the east. And that line, you know, that storm down around Bowling Green, the lightning with that is intensifying one more time.
Really starting to see it peak up there. Absolutely. You can see warnings that have jumped out ahead of the southern part of that line going over into Tennessee. Then you've got the severe thunderstorm warnings around Bowling Green, the tornado warning, of course, likely, as you said.
Yeah, it's expiring in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and they're going to let that one go. but the rest of this line could produce one at any time. And if not that, we still have the potential of those 70-mile-per-hour plus winds anywhere along this line of thunderstorms as it races across Kentucky. Model data doing fairly well with the timing on this now that we see it come together. It's not off by much, but it's certainly staying right on track with what we've been talking about all day today.
Yeah, we had one model, that our in-house model, Jim, that said this line of thunderstorms would be on top of the Lexington Metro around 1. We had another that said it would be closer to 2 o'clock. And I'm looking at this and I'm now thinking, okay, maybe it is the 1 o'clock. Maybe it is a little earlier arrival time because you've got, an hour and 15 minutes. Those storms are going to be into central Kentucky. It won't take a long time at all. And I would imagine even in Lexington, if Richmond, Danville, wherever you're looking into central Kentucky, but you look toward that western sky right now, the light show is probably pretty tremendous even now. You can't hear any thunder because it's so far away, but you're seeing that lightning, and that little thunderstorm going up here west of Frankfort is beginning to pulse up too. And that tornado warning is expiring in less than 1 minute into Bowling Green, even though we're seeing a lot of lightning kind of congregating within that one part of the cell. And Jim, as this races to the east, the damaging wind threat is going to be the main threat across central and eastern Kentucky. The key is going to be finding those little bitty kinks within that line that can sometimes produce that at least brief spin up of a tornado. It's a really tough task because those things, as soon as they show up, they can spit out a weak tornado. By the time you're looking at every part of the line up and down it, you may see that, and by the time the Weather Service types out a tornado warning, you know what? That thing has already touched down and it's gone because they don't have a long shelf life. It's not like with a line of thunderstorms like this, you're not going to get these big long track tornadoes. You're going to get these hit and run quick spinners that cause a lot of damage, unlike what we had into western Kentucky tonight, where it was a long track and violent tornado that impacted areas around Dawson Springs. And Jim, we're looking inside this line right now, and you don't see anything that is out of the ordinary. But again, as I mentioned, sometimes you don't see that until, boom, it's already upon you, and then you look away and you look back and it's kind of gone from there, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens in a situation like what we have out there.
See some pretty good winds right here around Bardstown.
Yeah, I was getting ready to look at those off camera and see what they were suggesting. But yeah, it's getting ready to really blow through there.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see the contrast there where the winds out ahead of our line of severe thunderstorms. So this is our line where we're likely getting it on some damaging winds, where you see those brighter pinks behind this. Those are some big time winds. Now this is from a radar site right here near the Fort Knox area. So it's giving us a really good view of the winds associated with this. And you see those little hot spots in there of where you're getting in on some wind damage. What we do, we look along this line to see if we can find any little bit of a kink in there embedded within that may promote a quick tornado spin up. Right now, nothing catches your attention, but again, 30 seconds from now, that may not be the case, and you may see something that all of a sudden kind of flexes along that line as it makes its way to the east. So Bardstown, we're under the gun. E-Town, we're getting it on some big time winds. The Magnolia area there into far southern parts of Hardin County, that's going to head toward Campbellsville, Lebanon, into Springfield, Simpsonville, and up into Shelbyville, Jim, would be the next cities that are in line for some damaging winds as that continues to roll on through the region.
And it looks like some of the just radar estimates of some of the wind speeds that are out there right now are pushing in 50 to 60 miles per hour, right around that severe thunderstorm criteria anyway. And that's just according to the data here. So we will see how this plays out within the next couple of hours, see how they really start to tighten up and push through.
Nice little bow with this segment of the line that is to the northeast of Bowling Green as well. And that's where we had, part of that under a tornado warning a little bit ago that has been allowed to expire. But yeah, we'll keep watching that as it heads toward the east. And eventually, folks around Lake Cumberland, where we've been hit a couple of times on this unofficial kickoff to summer, where a lot of folks are. Jim, you've got another line that is going to come through there, and this time it's going to be during the middle of the night as it races off to the east and the southeast at a pretty good clip. Individual storms racing to the southeast at around 55 miles per hour. The whole line of storms itself racing to the east and will eventually kind of fan out across southern Kentucky.
That's what's expected here. That's exactly what will happen. And again, all of this, as it digs in a little bit deeper, it's going to run right into some of those areas that were already hit pretty hard earlier with that first line. That first line was really the tough one. You had the secondary one that went through, still caused some issues out there with some gustier winds. I don't think we ever got a warning out of it here in Kentucky. And then this final line, this final segment of the whole thing has lined up and is closing in on our area. It's just minutes away, and I mean that, just minutes away from knocking on the door as far as some of the stronger parts of this for the folks right there in the capital city of Frankfort. You've got a little activity that's jumped out ahead of it, but the main action where some of the stronger winds are right behind that, and that is what will be coming your way here very, very soon as it sinks in deeper into Kentucky. Already, though, seeing some decent gusty winds out ahead in that with the Frankfort situation. Not severe level, Chris, but still certainly noticeable, and they will continue to intensify as that line sweeps in. Yeah,
and I mentioned the fact that we can likely see some lightning strikes. I've been watching this Keeneland cam, which is our in Fayette County, our farthest west camera that we've got. This is a live view of the track, and there you go, and that western sky is lighting up, and I was just noticing some pretty good bolts coming from the sky. And again, those storms are several miles away, a couple of counties away actually from this camera view right now with the worst of the weather. But we're getting in on a pretty good view of all the lightning that has been very intense with those storms. And of course, as soon as I pull the Keeneland cam up, it decides to get a little shy on us. But I assure you that on that eastern side, there you go, with a little bit of lightning. But that's what we've been dealing with over the past little bit. And as those storms get closer, they're going to get really, really noisy as we head into the overnight. And that's why we're going to be here, Jim, all night long to calm the nerves, keep everybody safe first and foremost, but to give you guys the best information in real time that we can give you. We started this, around 11 o'clock this morning, give or take a little bit.
That's about the time, right.
Yeah. And here we are. We'll be here until maybe 6 in the morning. That's a tornado watch that is out for all of central and eastern Kentucky. That goes until 6 a.m. It is very uncommon to have multiple waves of severe weather over roughly a 24-hour period, and now that's essentially what we're going to be dealing with, a 24-hour severe weather event across Kentucky. No, you didn't have severe weather on the hour every hour, but we're tracking now the third in a line of severe thunderstorms. Where are the current warnings out? These are severe thunderstorm warnings into the Louisville metro and now east. So downtown Louisville, the worst of the weather is through and is pushing into Spencer County, into Shelby County, Oldham County, and that includes a part of Bullitt County, northern sections of Nelson County, and then you get down the Bluegrass, or I should say, Bluegrass Parkway, but I-65, south of Hardin County, south of LaRue County, essentially the Bowling Green area with severe thunderstorm warnings. You know, something else, look at all the flash flood warnings that are out here in the western parts of Kentucky, where we have picked up just a tremendous amount of rain. Southern Kentucky, we picked up a tremendous amount of rain here as well. And with this latest line coming in, you got to watch those creeks and streams for the final time. Once we get rid of this line of severe thunderstorms and we get it in and out of Kentucky tonight, the only severe threat I can see for the next week would be a couple of isolated severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon that may try to bubble up. We got a little bit of instability available tomorrow afternoon, but that would be about all she wrote. But you look at the lightning strikes with this as it makes its way into central Kentucky. And Jim, this is about the time that the models said this line would start to progress quicker into central Kentucky. You kept showing us during our 10 o'clock on the CW, our 11 o'clock on WKYT, the timing on that future radar, which is a computer model called the HER. And once it got to the Louisville area and got along Interstate 65, this thing said, okay, you know what? Let's not waste any time. Let's just zip on through the rest of Kentucky.
Yeah, that's when it shot through, it hit the jetpack, and it started to race. That's what the data was suggesting, and you're certainly seeing some hints of that right this minute with the way it's kind of leading the way and digging deeper and deeper into Kentucky. Now, getting a lot more lightning around the Frankfort area with that one little extension that's out there. Look at that, how it's just gone up here in the past 5-10 minutes, and all of a sudden the lights or the skies are lighting up there, especially north of Frankfort. That is not a severe thunderstorm. That is just a good little gusty storm right now that's on the stronger side. So you're seeing it up to around Peaks Mill. Avoiding, the heaviest stuff is avoiding downtown Frankfort as of this moment. But again, you go to north and west of that along 421 out toward Flag Fork and through Bryant. And you've got one little gusty thunderstorm with some of those winds that are estimated at around at least 40 miles per hour, maybe even closing in on 50. So, yeah, it's got at least that potential to be that kind of gust, Chris.
Yeah, and that line continues to progress its way quickly toward the east. We had some folks saying, hey, show us more on those storms that are around Frankfort. There you go. I mean, you just gave them a nice little view of the thunderstorms that are ahead of this. But, Jim, you look at this part of the line right now compared to what we were seeing even 20 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago. Certainly, that part of the line has weakened just a little bit.
It has weakened considerably.
I'm not going to complain.
Right, it has weakened considerably.
Yeah, so it is weakened. You're not seeing the same amount of lightning with it. That does not mean it cannot flare right back up as it gets to the east. As a matter of fact, typically when you see lines of severe thunderstorms like this, you do see them weaken a little bit. Then a little farther downstream, all of a sudden they say, okay, let's rev it back up a little bit. Hopefully that is not the case. We would like for nothing more than these storms just to call it a night. I don't think that's going to be the case, obviously. And Storm Prediction Center, National Weather Service doesn't either because they've got the tornado watches that are out. But that's a potent little thunderstorm going up to the north of Frankfort. So we're going to get it noisy here in the Bluegrass region coming up shortly. Jim, let's take this farther to the south, see how this line is behaving from E-Town and points to the south now as we get toward Munfordville. That's the Hardeeville area, Hart County, Brownsville, and Bowling Green. Bowling Green, the worst of the storm, is just off to the northeast of us now. Is heading toward Glasgow and eventually is going to make its way through. This line is much stronger and has more of a damaging wind look to it. When I look at the leading edge of this line, typically you hear us in a lot of cases talk about sometimes you can get a pretty good idea on if the line of thunderstorms is producing, in my eyes, wind damage by just looking at the radar, and you're thinking, well, how can you do that? A lot of times what I've noticed through the years, when you see a very sharp edge on the leading edge of a line of thunderstorms like that, where you go from absolutely no colors to all of a sudden those yellows and oranges and reds, typically that's a pretty good indicator that you got some stout winds showing up with that. And that's what we're seeing right here. And we're seeing that extend a little farther to the northeast as well, out of E-Town, out of LaRue County. So Springfield, Lebanon, Campbellsville, eventually Columbia, and then back to the south toward the Kentucky-Tennessee border counties. You guys got next with this line of thunderstorms. I suspect, Jim, if we get this line to start to speed up much quicker, you may see some of those storms weakening maybe just a little bit more. Hope so,
maybe
right?
Listen, right.
We're trying to will ourselves into a better situation heading into the overnight. Now, the overall good news with this is that the tornado threat tonight is much lower into central and eastern Kentucky compared to what western Kentucky had a little earlier this afternoon and certainly this evening. So these storms lose the tornadic capability the farther east that they go. Does not mean they can't spit out a tornado or two along the way. It just means the opportunities for those storms to spit out tornadoes will begin to decrease. And that's exactly what we want heading into the middle of the night. We say it all the time. No good time for severe weather. There's a bad time, Jim. It's where we are now. I mean, we're at midnight.
We're at midnight.
Heading into the overnight, and that's a bad sign.
All right, now the storm that passed through Bowling Green, 62 mile per hour peak gust with it. So, I mean, that meets severe criteria, and that is a strong wind.
Yeah, it is.
And that happened just north of it. So that's part of that storm that was a tornadically warned storm. And then you had, of course, severe thunderstorm warning that continued with that. But so it peaked at 62 miles per hour out there for just a straight line gust. that made its way through the area. And starting to see another little hint of some development, again, right out ahead. You had the one in Franklin County, and then you got a little bit more closing in on Lebanon right now.
Yeah, those are the ones you kind of worry about as they merge with that line. Do they spin something up? And, you know, that's what we're going to be watching. I was seeing, looking at the progress of these thunderstorms, Jim, a lot of trees down in Oldham County. Where these storms, the northern edge of that line of storms raced through Oldham County a little bit ago. So the PD there, police department in Oldham County, LaGrange area, reporting quite a bit of trees down. So again, that's another telltale sign that we're dealing with wind damage with this line of thunderstorms as it makes its way on through.
Exactly, and I'm going to look in on this one here just to see if there's anything funky going on there in Franklin County, other than the fact that some of the winds associated with it are about 40-50 miles per hour. And, nothing seems to be giving us any hints of strong rotation of any sort. So that's a welcome sign to see as it plows through Franklin County. Again, it's going to be a very loud storm. It's already gotten that way for us right there around the capital city, and we'll continue working through northern parts of Franklin County, going over to Owen County here soon, as it keeps moving on its track here. And then the warnings that are along the rest of it, the line of thunderstorms, they drop all the way down now toward Glasgow and kind of beyond. You're seeing a new update coming from the sweep there as well. But tornado watch that runs through the very early morning hours tomorrow, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's how long this thing goes. And we'll be monitoring it every foot, every inch of the way.
And you know, Jim, obviously we have a lot of folks out there who are terrified of storms. Totally get it. We understand that, and that's what we're going to be here tonight to calm your nerves, help you guys out. Promise you we're going to get through this one way or the other. All right, so hang in there. This is, right now, this does not appear, hope we're not jinxing it, but this does not appear to have the same severity as the line that moved through earlier. Right now, that does not appear to be the case. We are going to watch this very closely as it gets into central Kentucky to see if it kind of revs back up. Jim was kind of highlighting some of those thunderstorms that are going up along and ahead of this. Watching that cell, northern parts of Franklin County, north of Frankfort, that's up near Peaks Mill. And then you get into areas of Hardin County and points south and east with some individual cells popping along and ahead of this main line, where we may try to get some of that stuff to play a little game of hookup with that line. And typically when that happens, that is when sometimes you can get in on a quick tornado spin up here or there. But this whole line is impressive, and I'm going to expand kind of the radar scope out just a little bit here so you can see that spin and just how far to the west this line of thunderstorms goes. That goes down into between Memphis and Little Rock, if you can believe that. So we've got the severe weather across central Kentucky all the way to the southwest.
And right now, Chris, we have our own Jessica Umbro and Alexa Minton. They are out right now driving along, and they're on 64. And you can see right now, let's go to her to see what she's seeing, because they're driving right towards some of that activity there from Shelbyville over into the Franklin County area. Alexa?
Yeah, guys, we are driving right now into some of that those strong storms that you two were just talking about. You can see lightning has been pretty consistently lighting up the sky. I mean, I know you both just said it moments ago. It's going to be an easy night. We're already tracking lots of lightning, and that rain started pretty quick, guys. It went from light to a little bit heavier with those raindrops. And again, we are in parts of Woodford County, just getting ready to head our way into parts of Franklin County and Frankfort. We're on I-64. We're going to catch up with the storm. You can see definitely lots of lightning is loaded into it. This is the same area that was hit earlier today as we track those strong wind gusts, those severe storms in parts of our afternoon. I mean, quite a few damage reports all throughout parts of the area, you know, just west of parts of Fayette County and then carrying over throughout eastern Kentucky. But now as we're heading into the storm system again, we're going to be ready for a little bit more activity. But I'll go ahead and throw it back to you guys in the studio. We're going to catch up with the front edge of the storm and ride it back into parts of Fayette County.
All right, stay safe, Alexa. We appreciate the work today. You've been out tracking storms since late this morning, early this afternoon, and here we are again in the wee hours of our Memorial Day. 20 years, Jim, after a big severe weather outbreak on this same Sunday night of Memorial Day in 2004. Which you were tracking when you were at WKYT in Hazard, where we had massive flooding in eastern Kentucky.
Terrible flooding.
We had tornado warnings. I think I came in that morning here at around 11 to do the first cut-in on that Memorial Day weekend, 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, and I had shorts and a T-shirt on at the time, and brought a suit and changed into it.
Yeah.
While I was still on air because it was so early in the day, and then I didn't leave here, and I didn't go off the air until about 8, 9 o'clock that next morning.
It was a very long night, and you know, this has the whole setup the past few days with different spots of the country, because the same thing happened back then 20 years ago. You had different spots that were all experiencing it at different times, and now here we are, we're getting our shot at some of the severe weather, and that's what we're right in the middle of here tonight, with these stronger thunderstorms that are moving across Kentucky everywhere. Nothing severe on the northern flank of that, but down on the southern flank going through Bowling Green, it still remains as a severe thunderstorm warning for you in that area, and we'll be closing in on some more of our counties here shortly.
Yeah, and we're watching that line, Jim. The thunderstorms that are popping out ahead of that, that storm is flexing just a little bit there on the Owen and Franklin County line. That's the strongest part of the cell. New severe thunderstorm warning that is popping. That would be for a part of Taylor County, Marion County, into the Washington County area, part of Nelson County as well. Maybe a small part of Hardin County, and far northern sections looks like of Greene County. Let's see, Greene, LaRue, there we go. Greene, LaRue, Marion, Nelson, Taylor, Washington. Sometimes when you're looking at a radar and you're up close like that, you kind of lose your bearings with the counties, but I think I got them all before we highlighted that. But that's that new severe thunderstorm warning, Jim, and that is on the leading edge where we were saying, sometimes you could just look at a radar and see that sharp edge on the leading part of a line of thunderstorms and say, okay, that's probably got some pretty good winds with it. So that's that severe thunderstorm warning. Harrodsburg, Danville, Perryville, in toward parts of the Dunville area of Casey County, we would have next, so to speak. Those were areas that were hard hit earlier in the day too, and individual thunderstorms continue to kind of flare up out ahead of this main line. That line of thunderstorms, by the way, that is in Glasgow or near Glasgow into Barron County, that's still going strong. I'm surprised they haven't extended that severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of that. That is almost out of the warning right now, and that looks like, Jim, the strongest storm on the radar, to be honest with you, near Glasgow here into Barron County. So that would be barreling its way to the east. This would be Adair County, the Monroe County area, Clinton, Cumberland, over toward Russell Springs, Jamestown, Russell County. That gets us into Lake Cumberland, where we've already experienced quite a bit of severe weather on the day. But this line continues to roll its way to the east with that new severe thunderstorm warning, taking in quite a bit of real estate now to the east of Interstate 65. So within the next 45 minutes, Lexington Metro, we're probably going to get the worst of this storm line that we're going to get in central Kentucky is going to be on us within about 45 minutes, so closer to 1 o'clock. So, Jim, I think the faster model is going to end up winning out.
I think
the 1 a.m.
right.
model.
I think you're right, and because it's all timing out just like that, and that's arrival time for us here in Lexington.
How fast that storm is racing out ahead of this line. I mean, that thing is up into Owen County right now. Southern parts of Owen County may have some pea-sized hail. It's noisy. That much we know. Look at the lightning that is with that. It's moving so quickly, Jim, that the lightning is kind of showing up behind that a little bit.
It can't keep up.
It can't keep up because that storm is just lickety-split moving its way to the north, and that's a good indication of a strong southerly flow that is ahead of that main line. but that may have also taken just a little bit of energy from that line of storms into Shelby County because it's not as intense.
It's not. And you can see that. You can see it weakening there on the radar. You can see it's not quite to that same level. So yeah, that's one thing about some of these. They'll pull energy from the other, and that's what's happened a lot out there. Now they've extended that warning down there that goes all the way into Columbia and Burkesville as well. That one you were talking about with Glasgow. And I'm going to pop the counties on here just for a second because I want to see what their official report says here off screen, and because I was seeing at least 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and that's kind of what they're signing on with, is the fact that you could see at least 60 plus, which is kind of the standard for a warning.
And that's moving east at 55 miles an hour.
55.
And it's not wasting any time. And Jim, that's the same line of storms that blew through Bowling Green. A lot of multiple reports of power lines down. Transmission line fell on 3 cars. Let's see, we got some structural damage into Bowling Green and some trees that are blocking roads there into Warren County as well, with that same line of storms that is making its way, that you're essentially tracking toward Adair County right now.
That is the one. You're absolutely right. So again, that very, very sharp gradient there on the nose of it.
Power outages have been a problem all day. Jim, at one time today, I think we peaked around 217,000 customers. We're talking customers, not people.
Right.
Homes, businesses, that's a customer. We had fallen a little more. Now we're starting to tick back up. We're back up to 170, almost 173,000 customers without electric. And you see that a lot of that is into Western Kentucky, where we're getting this line to go through there, but you already had a lot of outages from earlier. And then in southeastern Kentucky, especially hard hit there, that's what, Leslie County?
Leslie County, big
where
time, yeah.
Those storms that made their way through there earlier. And I was looking at the Cumberland Valley co-op down there. I believe it's a co-op, right? Where they said this is likely a multi-day event for their region to get the power back.
Oh no, that's wild. But what people have to understand down there, around here in Lexington, a lot of our lines are now buried. Now some of them aren't. You go to some of the older neighborhoods and some of those places, but a lot of the newer spots, the lines are buried. But you get out there and you can't bury them because you have to bury them through a mountain, and so they have to go literally over top of them, and it takes a while, maybe a day, to get to some of these places, and they have to go by ATV or something to get out there. So that's why the process takes a lot longer out in those rural areas, those mountain areas, because it's just hard to get to, Chris. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, you're right, and those are also the areas, Jim, that have you got more woods, you got more trees, you got more lines that are in rural areas, so the greater the threat for trees to take down some of those power lines, and that's what we have been seeing. But you can see how in Western Kentucky, that is a lot of power outages of particular concern there. Look at some of those counties. You got more than half of the places into Caldwell County, into Hopkins County that are without power, where we likely had that devastating tornado into Hopkins County near Dawson Springs a little bit ago this evening. And Muhlenberg County, look at that. Wow. So they track 17,390 customers. 14,545 of those customers are without power. So less than 3,000 customers out of more than 17,000 have power.
So
just in one county.
And remember what he's saying here. We're talking customers. So that could be a nursing home. Right. Where the power is out at a nursing home. That could be, senior living. That could be anywhere like that that has a lot of people, an apartment complex for that matter. That's what we're talking about, customers individually. But there might be 5 or 6 people that live in your house. There might be 2 or 3, whatever. So you're talking about thousands upon thousands of people that are directly impacted by that here tonight. And we continue to kind of look at some of those, and the core of it's out there. But again, quite a few out. Percentage-wise, it's what it is out in eastern Kentucky. The population isn't quite as heavy, but it is certainly affecting a lot of people out there too.
All right, so back to the radar we go, and we're starting to see this line progressing very quickly now into central Kentucky. Frankfort, it's just to the west of us. Chances are into Franklin County right now, we can hear the thunder to the west. The lightning starting to tick right back up. That's what we talked about. This line, sometimes it weakens a little bit, eats its Tweeties, it flexes on us. And that's certainly the case, especially on the southern edge of this, where we've got numerous counties that are under those severe thunderstorm warnings as of now. So if you're in Mercer County right now, if you're in Boyle County, Casey County, just to the west, we got those severe thunderstorm warnings, and we're likely to get those to expand a little farther east into central Kentucky. Bluegrass region, can we avoid the worst of the weather in Lexington, into Richmond, into Georgetown, Frankfort, Versailles, where we had a lot of damage earlier in the day? We will see as this line inches a little closer, but the southern edge of this is stronger right now in terms of the overall potential wind damage with this. But I do notice the northern edge is trying to pulse up just a little bit, courtesy of that small little cell that developed into Franklin County and is now up into Owen County and lifting its way quickly to the north. But that whole line racing to the east, Jim, what, 55 miles an hour?
55 in general, that's
Goodness
right.
gracious, that thing will be on top of you before you know it. So here in Versailles and Frankfort and Lawrenceburg, it's not going to take much longer.
No, it's not. And I've gone back to the watch, Chris, because somewhere along the way, I didn't see this come out. So I'm going to show you this. This might be the smallest I have ever seen. And I'm going to pull up a flood watch that has been issued out there for a few counties that are in southern parts of Kentucky. So
I'll show you.
Yeah, we're going to get to it.
Jim, we want to see the flood watch Jim's talking about. He's going to give us a small little flood watch. So
there they come. Yeah.
Let's see here.
It's regular flood.
Regular flood watch.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, folks, you're getting to see how the sausage is made. Sometimes it's not pretty, but that's that's kind of what we're dealing with. So there's your general flood watch.
There's your general flood watch, and then there's another small one that just includes just a few counties out there that has been issued. So that's I hadn't seen some of those come through because we've been so involved with some of the severe weather that's been moving through the area. But it just one of them is kind of that one right there. I'd say will cover it, but.
Well, it's interesting.
That just a small little section there where it's elevated a little bit more.
And it's now northern Kentucky severe thunderstorm warning comes out with that.
Well, that's that storm that passed through Frankfort just a little while
County
ago.
Storm. Look at that, northbound, and it is heading toward the Covington-Cincinnati area. Let's go take a look at it. I mean, we've got all night here for you folks, or hopefully it doesn't take all night to get these storms out of here, but we're going to walk you through each and every step of it. We've been here since 11 o'clock this morning. We'll be here till 11 o'clock tomorrow morning if it takes it. Here's this line of thunderstorms right on top of Owenton, and it is racing to the northeast and likely to have damaging winds now with that severe thunderstorm warning that goes all the way through Williamstown, Grant County. This is Owenton into Owen County. You're talking about up near the Kentucky Speedway and points north from there. Boone, Gallatin, Grant, Kenton, Owen, and a small part of Pendleton County as well. This storm racing to the northeast, damaging winds, the primary player, and this thing is likely moving at 55 to 60 miles an hour. Not just the wind speed with this, but the actual forward movement of this storm heading toward northern Kentucky, the Pioneer area. If that sounds familiar to some folks, that was the site of on March 2nd of 2012. I believe that was the strongest tornado in Kentucky that touched down that day. Was an EF4, if I'm not mistaken, in Pioneer into northern Kentucky a little more than 12 years ago. So damaging winds are heading in this general direction. Williamstown up toward Dry Ridge and Florence, y'all. That's going to continue to make its way to the north very, very quickly. And Jim, it looks like another part of this storm is kind of ramping it up a little bit as well near Warsaw and right on top of the Interstate 71 corridor.
It is. It looks stout. All of it looks stout right there as far as some of the others are concerned, because we've got some down the line that aren't as intense. But plenty strong enough and loud enough, and that's what they're about to get again in Frankfort here within the next few minutes after they had that one go through a little while ago.
Yeah, that is, the lightning with that isn't as intense. Then you've got another little offshoot thunderstorm right on top of Lawrenceburg, between Lawrenceburg and Versailles. That'll lift to the north. So, hey, capital city, Midway, Versailles, Lawrenceburg, getting noisy right now. We know that. Not considered to be severe, but we are keeping a very close eye on this as this whole line makes its way on in. Meteorologist Alexa Minton joins us now, I-64 toward Frankfort. So she is now driving into this part of the storm, and we see the heavy rain. And I would imagine, Alexa, now you're not driving, you're in the passenger seat. It is important to note with that, but you're seeing the lightning flashing in the distance and the rain picking up.
Yeah, folks, I mean, there's water all over the roadways. It happened pretty almost instantaneously. We just got west of Frankfort, right? We're on I-64, so we're in between Frankfort and Shelbyville. We were commenting, myself and our reporter Jessica, who's in the car with me, we were commenting on how lightning was starting to really pick up some steam. It was getting more frequent, and then all of a sudden this heavy rain started. You can see almost entirely zero visibility at this moment in time. There's tons of those rain waters like washing over parts of the roadway, folks. Obviously, definitely some pretty strong storms. Even if you don't end up getting in one of those areas that does have a severe risk, you could still see definitely a lot of potential damage as we're still tracking that flood watch. I mean, that's going to be in effect throughout this entire period as well, because we're definitely seeing a lot of those high waters is kind of spilling over onto some of these roadways. So we're going to turn around and start following back into Fayette County along with these storms. But for now, we're on I-64 in parts of Franklin County. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alexa Minton.
Alexa, stay safe above all else. We appreciate the live report as that storm continues to make its way, Jim, right on top of Interstate 64 into Franklin County. That is what it looks like on our First Alert radar network as this whole line continues to progress toward the east. The worst of the weather, though, is stretching from roughly Springfield back to Glasgow, and that's going to continue to make its way toward the east. Thankfully, right now, this line is not as strong, it's not as severe as its predecessor earlier in the day.
It's not. You're absolutely right. This is considerably weaker. It's not weak by any means, but weaker than what we had earlier in the day. That's for sure, thankfully.
So there you go with the warnings that are out into central Kentucky. We got just a little bit of a gap between that warning in the north and that line of warnings right along I-65 and points to the east now, and that is going to get pushed farther into central Kentucky as well over the next little bit. You saw from Alexa Minton's live camera view just a moment ago, you could see a lot of lightning showing up in the distance. I want to go back to our Keeneland cam just to see what we can pick up on coming in from the west. And Jim, we're looking at that and seeing some lightning strikes there way in the distance.
That's exactly what's happening, because that's where this is approaching from. And that right there, that particular view you just saw, that one that was almost a mid-screen, that is going to be more off toward the north from that point, from that perspective, from from to the south, excuse me, from where we're looking. So it's out there, and it continues to get a little more intense on that side of town. Again, you got to remember, this is far western sections of Fayette County right now.
And Jim, Governor Andy Beshear issuing a state of emergency for Kentucky now, with all the severe weather on the day, to ensure communities impacted have the resources they need to respond. So that just coming in tonight. And I would imagine a lot of that with the tornado out in Dawson Springs in western Kentucky.
It is, and we're certainly thankful for that piece of information and his assistance in making sure everything is going to be fine out there tonight to get them the proper help that they need.
And watching these storms into central Kentucky, that light show, Jim, you can almost see a little bit of a shelf cloud that is showing up here as it makes its way out of Woodford County and on toward, obviously Keeneland, right across the street from Bluegrass Airport. You got Versailles Road there. So that's going to be the area we see the severe weather hit first.
It is, absolutely. And man,
that's if it is considered to be severe when it gets there.
Right. And lighting up the skies for sure over there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's becoming more and more frequent, embedded within that section of the thunderstorms, that line. And again, the more I look at it, the more, like you were saying earlier, I'm not as impressed as I was earlier today, but that's a good thing.
And every time, by the way, I try to pull up that Keeneland cam and I walk out there to try to show lightning,
It doesn't go.
It gets shy.
Yeah.
So that's why I just walk off and say, okay, you know
then it
what?
shows up.
And then it shows up. So I come over here and look
time.
off screen, and yeah, we got lightning that is showing up on that particular cam, and our tower cam has been picking up on some as well in the distance. But this storm is still a little bit away from Lexington, about 30-45 minutes or so. So around 1 o'clock, that should come barreling its way on through. So let's start on the northern edge of this line, Jim, and then let's take a trek from northwest to northeast to southwest. Been a long day, kids. Let's go into northern Kentucky with that severe thunderstorm warning that is out for a number of counties here, from Owen County up into Boone County and Kenton County, Pendleton County, that's Grant County, and then you've got Gallatin here. That's going to continue to lift its way to the north. May have some damaging winds as it works its way quickly to the north and northeast. Booming storms right on top of the capital city of Frankfort, back into Lawrenceburg of Anderson County, and then point south from there. We continue to see the storms now increasing a bit from Springfield back toward Lebanon, Campbellsville. You know, and I watch these storms that are kind of popping out ahead of this, and I think, are we going to see those try and rev up that part of the line here from Harrodsburg back to Springfield? I think that is a possibility, but the damaging winds, if we already get those, would be on top of 127 coming up in the next little bit. Farther to the south, though, voice, come on, don't film me now. Greatest storm concentration of severe weather has been associated with this part of the storm. Made its way across the Bowling Green area, Glasgow. It's on 68 now, and that is rolling its way toward Burkesville and Columbia coming up very, very shortly. But as we keep saying, Jim, we look at this, I don't see the intensity that we had in that earlier line.
It's not there. It's not.
Fingers crossed that is a trend that takes us through the overnight, because we would like for everybody to sleep well and have no more damage to worry about.
Right, because we had plenty out there earlier, especially down to our south, really all around. I mean, this wasn't in one point of our area to another. It was scattered all over. You had more, I think, down around Corbin, Barberville, and that area more consistently, but we had it there in Lawrenceburg earlier today and in Woodford County as well. And right now, it's loud there. You've got a little bit of lightning, got some heavy rain that is now soaking the rooftops in the city of Versailles proper, and we are tracking a good thunderstorm. It's not a severe thunderstorm at this moment in time, but we could, as Chris has been saying, we could see these kind of ramp up a little bit at any moment. Same thing happening up in Frankfort. It's not a severe thunderstorm, but it is very heavy rain, loads of lightning to the north of that, and that continues to kind of keep the action going. And we get down into Willisburg, and then from there to Springfield, and you've got that leading edge there with another severe thunderstorm warning, and that's crossing the border now, gets you over into almost Harrodsburg. It's not there yet, but it's closing in on that area here very, very soon. But it's on top of Perryville with some good gusty winds and some, again, loud rain rolling on the rooftops. Yeah,
going to be one of those nights where it may sound worse than it actually is out there, which we will not complain about that if that is indeed the case. But those warnings that continue to come out from Springfield into the Lebanon area and point south and southwest from there. So far, so good. As we make our way into the middle of the night now, the storms are not as intense as the storms we had earlier, but we're still with a tornado watch that goes until 6 o'clock in the morning. But as fast as these storms are racing through the area, I don't see any way that tornado watch remains until 6 a.m. Because essentially, as soon as that line goes through where you live, the threat is over. So in about 1 to 2 hours, that line is going to be through central Kentucky. And I would think that here very shortly, we're going to drop the back edge of that tornado watch from the I-65 corridor.
Absolutely.
Storms are through there.
I'm shocked that it's still there, actually.
They're
for
east
some
of
those
that.
counties. Yeah.
East of 65 now, and going to continue to barrel their way on through. You see the warnings that are out. All the warnings taking shape here from northern Kentucky. A little bit of a jump zone around Frankfort, and then we pick up the pace again with the severe thunderstorm warnings from Washington County, Marion County, and Point South. Campbellsville, Adair County, right on top of the Lake Cumberland area coming up here in just a little bit. That is rolling its way eastbound on the Cumberland Parkway, and that should be into parts of Russell Springs coming up shortly. But the lightning, it's still out there. It's trying to pulse up just a little bit, Jim. And indeed, where that little thunderstorm popped ahead of that, you were just looking at Perryville into Boyle County, and we're seeing that merger, that cell merger in that storm is trying to flare up just a little bit. We saw this with that cell coming out of Frankfort and up into Owen County, and you can see how that's increasing now from Harrodsburg, Perryville, and back into Springfield, the Willisburg area. This is 150. It goes from Perryville to Danville, and then you got Harrodsburg up and down 127. Very, very populated corridor. That's going to roll its way on through. So we'll see if we get an eastward extension on that severe thunderstorm warning, and looking at those new cells that are going up quickly. Wouldn't surprise me if here in the next few minutes we don't get a new severe thunderstorm warning out of Boyle County, out of Mercer County, and maybe into southern parts of Woodford County, or a small part of Casey County, and up into maybe Garrett County as well. So far, that has not been extended to the east. You're seeing some decent winds with that still?
Still pushing, generally 40, 50 below severe criteria for some of them, but again, it could intensify at any time. One little lonely, heavier shower has crossed the border
onto the west side of Lexington.
From Woodford County into the Little Texas area of Fayette County here. So that's the first round of this rain that's coming. That's just to the south and west of the airport. You can see the airport there above, and it's cranking up out there. That's just the beginning, Chris, because then you get what's left over, which is right behind it, and that's that line of thunderstorm activity that has some stronger winds with it.
Yeah, and it's obviously, Jim, this is coming on the heels of today's widespread severe weather outbreak, and I want to show just all the reports of the day so far. And I mean, you look at that map. I mean, my goodness, just about every corner of the state, every county of the state had at least a report of severe weather. Whether or not you're talking about wind damage, whether or not you're talking about high wind gusts, and look here into western Kentucky. Tornado, tornado, tornado lining up there, tornado into southern parts of Indiana. So all these little icons represent at least one severe weather report, and I know we're probably going to fill a lot more of those in central Kentucky, because I can guarantee you, based on the Twitter pictures and information that we've gotten of damage reports, there are a lot of holes in those official storm reports into central Kentucky, Jim. And I'm looking at Danville especially, seeing no report there of tree damage or anything like that, just a wind gust. And I know we had pictures, numerous pictures of trees down on homes, even in Lexington. No official storm report for severe weather today in Lexington. Come on.
It's all coming, I'm sure. A lot to assess, but that's a lot of dots. Every single dot, what you got to realize, folks, is that's a different individual report. So I zoom in on them, you can see how they scatter a little bit more. So I mean, they're all over those. We had plenty coming out of Lawrenceburg a little bit earlier, and out of Anderson County. You can see the 2 or 3 of those lined up. I mean, let me just give you an example of what happened there. This is one of the reports, and it was called just plain old thunderstorm wind damage. Then you had another there on the Woodford County line that was also just plain old thunderstorm wind damage. But again, those winds were howling across Kentucky much, much earlier. We go down into Laurel County. Now check this one out. Now we're going to zoom in a little tighter because I want to show you that report right there. That one I'm highlighting. Lightning. London. Why is that important? Because that has apparently struck a business there, a ophthalmology business, and it caused a structure fire at Huffman and Huffman, I believe was the name of that ophthalmologist, and it was a total loss. That's the report I'm reading right now. It was a total loss, so that was because of lightning. So, I mean, so many different facets with this and the way it's played out there for us today, from the wind to a report like that of lightning and tons and tons of trees. Around Corbin, I saw one, Chris, it fell on a mobile home, and it tore the entire end of a trailer of a mobile home off. And it just so happened that the family was in there under a mattress seeking shelter, and the tree fell right on them. That's what I was reading on report. I shared some of that over on Facebook too. So it's just incredible to see these scattered reports and how dreadful they really are.
Yeah, they are. And anytime you're dealing with better than 200,000 customers without power, Jim, you know you had a widespread damaging event. That's what we had. Then we topped it off this evening with another line of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes into western Kentucky, and that line is now racing its way into central Kentucky. And just the lightning with that may cause a few more power outages. You could see, you know, hundreds of strikes right now every couple of minutes.
And they're all lining up and moving deeper and deeper into Kentucky right now. That's what you're seeing coming our way as the action keeps going. Let's
go in on that storm, that line of storms, Jim, into parts of Mercer County, where we're getting these storms coming together with that line to the west of us. So we want to zoom in on this particular part of the cell here into Mercer County and maybe part of eastern Washington County to see if where these storms meet up. It's what we just said. You sometimes can get that to have a little spin. So we'll pause this and we'll look inside this to see if somewhere between Willisburg and Harrodsburg and Springfield, in that little area, if we aren't seeing at least some kind of a little bit of a rotation. And there you go. Maybe just a couple of spots here. West of Harrodsburg. So this is right on top of 390 and point south. That's a pretty good winds behind that, Jim. And if we are to get, could be a little spin right in here, and maybe another one just to the north of that. So Harrodsburg, this is the concern, where you can get a quick little spin up. We've seen this along this line several times through the evening, and now where we're getting cell mergers, or a storm that is kind of moving into this particular part of the line, it's kind of meeting up with it. Sometimes it can just create just a touch of some spin, and that's what we're looking at. I know, Jim, you're looking at an off-camera source and seeing anything with this as well?
There's certainly a little hint of it trying.
North of 152.
Trying just a little bit out there. So it wouldn't shock me if we didn't have something come in. I mean, you can see the kink right there just as clear as and plain as day.
Yeah, and those are the kinks that are really the hit and run kinks that we mentioned earlier right off the top, that you can pick up a quick tornado. And there's the new scan with that. Yeah, it's still there, southwest of Harrodsburg. So we'll see if the National Weather Service pulls the trigger on this. At least should be under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, which we are not as of now. I think that severe thunderstorm warning ended right at the Mercer County line. So we'll continue to watch this part of the cell just to the west of Harrodsburg as that continues to make its way, Jim, toward the east at a pretty good clip.
I mean, it's got it right there. I mean, there's certainly a little hint of it. So you got to go with something there.
Yeah, I think so too, and especially when you see that little lobe of some really high winds setting there to the southwest of Harrodsburg. So Mercer County, hey, we're watching this right now, okay? No warnings are out with it, but we're on top of it to keep a close eye on this. You see the severe thunderstorm warning that is back to the west of us. So again, nothing is out for Mercer County, but we're watching that very, very quickly. Alexa Minton joining us again right now, where I believe you're in Woodford County and you saw a little damage just a moment ago. What'd you see?
Yeah, right now we're definitely seeing a lot of tree limbs down on the side of the road. It's hard to tell if things were from earlier today when we saw so much damage, especially in parts of this area. But definitely that heavy rain, you can just see it right now in our live drive. Lightning still lightning up the sky every couple minutes or so. And honestly, the debris that you're seeing scattered across parts of the roadway is kind of mixing in with those higher levels of pooling water that we're also seeing on the roadways. Definitely heavy rain and strong winds here in Woodford County. We've slowed down a little bit for our drive. We're on 60 headed towards Versailles. and then we're going to make our way back into parts of Fayette County. But folks, definitely a lot of heavy rain, at least in parts of this area. I know there's around 1,200 people right now without power in parts of Woodford County, and I'm sure that number might continue to climb as we see this line of storms make its way across parts of our area. So obviously not a lot of people are going to be on the roadways. We are in these overnight hours, but still tracking some pretty dangerous conditions as you're driving with lots of debris and pooling water on roadways. But I'll go ahead and throw it back to you guys as we keep our eye on this line of storms.
All right, thank you, Alexis. Stay safe again as you kind of travel through the storm. And again, important to note that she is not driver. She's in the shotgun seat, which is a good thing, right? When you're reporting during weather, you don't want to be doing two things at once. You want to concentrate on the road if you're going to be driving.
You do. You want to be as secure as you possibly can, and that's what they're doing. So it's a two-person crew out there.
So we continue to watch that little bit of a kink there, Jim, just to the west of Harrodsburg, and it's still showing up. Whether or not that is enough to maybe cause a little bit of some winds or a little brief spin, we shall see. But right now, no active warning is out with this part of the storm that is right on top of Harrodsburg, and that little spin is moving into Harrodsburg.
And it's looking. It actually looks a little bit better now. If you look at it right there on that, on my side version over here too. I mean, it's present. So we'll wait and see what to do with that one. But either way, it's a gusty old time in there for those folks. And I got a report, and I'm sure you got it too there, that folks down there in right around Perryville saying it was really coming down for them. You can see it's right there on top of them on that southern side of it too. So there's Perryville, wind and of course rain and lightning, all lining up and lighting up those skies and lighting up our radar as well. But as of this moment, no active tornado warnings anywhere in our area, but those thunderstorms, they're plenty strong enough for a lot of us here tonight. And again, we talked about Lake Cumberland earlier. We had two different waves go through there. One that really shook things up. Got all kinds of videos and pictures early in the day from people trying to get back to the docks, back to the marina to secure their boats. And now maybe people are still out on the lake even at this hour. I don't know, to each their own, but they've got another big push of thunderstorms coming that way again to the Lake Cumberland area. So that's headed right there toward them, Chris, and it's wailing at around 55 miles per hour forward motion that's coming that way.
Yeah, and we just continue to watch this line, Jim, and those little bitty thunderstorms that are out ahead of this are kind of joining forces with that, and most of that is on top of Mercer County, and you can see into Mercer County, there's you got a couple little kinks that are showing up here within that line, and from Mercer County, from Harrodsburg into northern parts of Mercer County.
Yeah, it's out there for sure.
That's we're right on top of 127, and Jim will take us back into that part of the cell. So again, we don't want you to let your guards completely down. Even though this line is not what the earlier line was, it doesn't take but just one or two little kinks in there to get something to spin up. So we're watching this from Salvisa down to Harrodsburg, and you can see there's a little kink here. There's another little kink right on top of Salvisa. Regardless, that's a pretty good winds, Jim, even if we aren't getting hopefully nothing tornadic with this. But again, when you see these little kinks like that, it catches your attention first and foremost. That's kind of what we look like when we're looking at a line of thunderstorms, those embedded small scale little spins. And that's pretty good winds with that storm in Harrodsburg. I'm surprised they don't at least have a severe thunderstorm warning for
there
that.
should be something. I mean, even the radar's indicating 50 to 60 is a good possibility. But if anything's going on, it looks like this right here. That's the spin he's talking about. They're trying to show a little circulation that would be right about there. And it's not going to be that broad if there is an actual tornado embedded within that. And again, we're not saying there is, but the indicator on radar suggests that there very well could be. And that's the way it would be flown right there.
And if we, Jim, if we can take this line or take this radar and go up into Fayette County, Scott County area, especially into Scott County, into the north here, I want to see this part of the cell because there may be just a little bit of a similar kink that is showing up here into Scott County. This is north of Georgetown, here's Sadieville, and that's back over toward the stamping ground area, and maybe right in here if there's just a small scale little kink, but that is our line of pretty good winds rolling out of Franklin County and into Scott County as of right now. That's stamping ground. Here's Interstate 75 that goes from Georgetown up just to the west of Sadieville up toward Corinth, where you've got severe thunderstorms to the north of that. So we got to watch that line for those small scale little enhancements, Jim, or little indentions in that line that may sometimes give you a little spin up. That's why the Storm Prediction Center, I should say, blanketed the region with a tornado watch instead of a severe thunderstorm watch, just for these small scale little kinks along that line, which again are hit and run spin ups if you get one. Here's hoping we don't get one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can see that they are certainly trying to spin. It's trying its best along the way.
Yeah, that one near Salvisa, if we can go back to that one may have just flared up just a little more into northern parts of, Mercer County, right here. If we go in on this part of the cell, I do believe, Jim, we can see now a little green that is embedded within this, which indicates some better winds going in a different direction. Yep, there you go. So you see that little small rotation. This is 127. This is Salvisa here in the Mercer County. So, Jim, that is indeed just a little better rotation that is likely showing up with this. That is into the Salvisa area, northern parts of Mercer County. Here is Anderson County. Here is Salvisa. This is Mercer County, and over here would be the Mortonsville area of Woodford County. Nonesuch as well, one of my favorite names. This is into the southern parts of Woodford County, so we're watching that. That may at least have had some spin with it as it makes its way. You got two little small-scale couplets that have been trying to show up into Mercer County.
And continue to do so there. I know we've got a new scan, of course, that just went through and updated that data. And that's what we've got there right now. Continuing to at least suggest that there could be a good level of some spin in there. And it'd be right there around Salvisa. And you were talking about going all the way over. Okay, finally a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for it. Okay, so at least there's, you know what, here's what's funny about it. It's kind of away from the area we were just looking at where they've issued this. But they've got it going all the way to Richmond with a severe thunderstorm warning. That's now out. And I'll plot all the names and all the counties and all that good stuff here for you so you can see them and read them.
Yeah, that goes till 1:30. That is Boyle County, Garrett County, Jessamine, Madison, and Mercer. Richmond, we are included in this. It does not include Fayette County, does not include downtown Nicholasville, but points south from that. And that is, again, within the line that has that little bit of a kink that is showing up into Harrodsburg. And as Jim mentioned, that does not include the northern part of that, where you had just a little better kink or rotation showing up near Salvisa into Mercer County, but nonetheless, at least we got something issued from this particular cell. I mean, the winds with that were on radar were enough to get at least a severe thunderstorm warning issued. Question is, we got to continue to watch that just to see and make sure that there's nothing that tries to briefly spin up within that line that is on top of Harrodsburg. That's 127. That corridor, Jim, right now is rocking and rolling, coming out of Mercer County into Boyle County, and then eventually Bryantsville, 27. We go from the 127 corridor to the 27 corridor. That will see the worst of the weather coming up here within the next 15-20 minutes or so. Richmond, you guys got about a half hour or so before that storm is on top of you into Madison County over toward Lancaster, the Paint Lick area. Paint Lick essentially right on top of the Garrett and Madison County line that will continue to make its way on through that part of the land. So we'll continue to see that storm system making its way through.
It's on its way, yeah, absolutely, and moving somewhere between about 45 to 55 miles per hour right there, and heading off toward the east and a little hint of southeast, Chris, just barely.
Yeah. Let's look inside it again, Jim, and see how those little bitty maybe couplets are. Okay, we're kind of losing that into Harrodsburg. So that's a good thing, the Salvisa part of that, and that's what we were talking about. You get these quick little signatures on a radar that may have a little spin with it, and then just a few minutes later it's gone. That's why if you if you kind of have paralysis by analysis sometimes in looking at the radars, you kind of miss out on stuff. You kind of got to go with what's happening at the time instead of saying, well, I want to wait. By then, the damage is over. The whole purpose of warnings is in advance of something. So we're just now getting that severe thunderstorm warning that is out into Mercer County and points to the east from there. Jim, that's a pretty good little lobosome wind on the southeast side of Harrodsburg right now that continues to make its way across 127 into southeastern Mercer County, and it's going to hold together and head into Bryantsville coming up here in just a matter of a few minutes.
Headed right that way, and again, radar indicates those strong winds are certainly a good possibility. All within that right now, that's what you've got there, and that continues. And that's what we've got out there right now. I'm reading another some more information that is coming in at this particular moment, and just again suggesting some strong wind gusts. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and Jim, let's kind of reset everything. Focus on the main radar view, just to kind of show everybody what we're dealing with right now with this line of thunderstorms making its way through. Severe thunderstorm warning, northern Kentucky. We got this severe thunderstorm warning into the bluegrass area. Severe thunderstorm warning gets into the Russell Springs and Jamestown area now into Russell County. And it is that part of the storm that also has shown just a little bit of some signs of spin as well. So within this line, you got a little kink here or there that may try to spin up something. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but that's why the tornado watch is out until 6 in the morning. I don't think this tornado watch is going to see the expiration time at 6 in the morning because that line is zipping its way through here as of right now and will continue to do so. Let's go toward Russell Springs and Adair County, and we will look inside those storms, Jim, just to see if we're seeing anything funky that is going on with those, because that has for a while now been the strongest storm on radar, and I think it continues to be north of the Burkesville area toward Adair County. We'll see inside this. What Jim's going to do is going to give the storm an MRI. So we're going to change, instead of looking at the rain aspect of it, the traditional, we're looking inside to see if we can find anything that would be spinning. And right now, nothing is kind of blaring at this, though you're into, Jim, what do we call it? Kind of no man's land?
No man's land, that's it.
You got a bunch of different radars that kind of leave this area underserved by just a little bit, because those beams are so far away that they're kind of shooting the tops of those thunderstorms because of the curvature of the earth. So that radar beam just kind of reaches the top levels of any showers of thunderstorms. You want to see rotation, you want a beam that can see the low levels to see if we got any bit of spin with that. But again, Russell Springs, Lake Cumberland, Jamestown, the marinas down here, a lot of folks are out on the water or had planned to be out on the water today. Probably didn't happen. Maybe you're planning it for tomorrow. I think you have better luck tomorrow by a long shot. But right now we're getting ready to get rocked again by strong thunderstorms rolling their way on through. Alexa Minton joining us now again en route with the heavy rain that is kind of chasing you back into Lexington, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. We're on 60 at the moment. We're going to continue on 60 into parts of the Fayette County area, folks. Definitely that rain is picking up, but quite a few times. I'm sitting passenger. We got our reporter Jessica Umbro with me that's driving, and there's been a few moments where it literally looks like daylight as lightning is lighting up the sky. Obviously, if you're not going to be in one of these active areas of that severe weather threat, you're still going to have a really noisy overnight. Folks, we got around 1,200 people out of power in Woodford County, and that number will certainly climb. You can see that lightning just incredible across parts of the sky. Definitely make sure you keep all those kiddos safe. It's probably going to be a noisy overnight as we're going to continue to track these storms across the board for our area. But right now, definitely lots of pooling water on roadways, lingering debris. It's hard to distinguish if that was from earlier today or if that's from this rain that we're driving through right now. But certainly a lot of strong storms through this area all throughout our Sunday. That's going to keep on persisting as we keep driving through this rain band. But I'll go ahead and throw it back to you guys. as we continue to track this as it makes its way towards parts of central and eventually parts of eastern Kentucky as well.
All right, stay safe out there. The rain coming down. You see the sheets of rain on 60 there where she's at. Well, we're not too far away from that with this view from Keeneland with the heavy rain that is coming through here. And now earlier I was kind of laughing because every time I would get out here to show lightning from the Keeneland cam, it just didn't show up. Now we've been off for a few minutes while Alexa was doing her report there, and this thing was just lighting up. Well, here we are on TV, and this Keeneland cam apparently gets really, really shy, or at least the lightning gets shy. Every time we try and show this thing, nothing happens. But you know what? We're going to wait you out, thunderstorm, because the light show has been fairly prolific. I guess we'll come back to it. It's going to win. New severe thunderstorm warnings are out here. And that's why we cut away from that. Into Pulaski County, into Wayne County, into McCreary County, into Laurel County, and a part of Whitley County as well. So Weather Service down in Jackson getting out in advance of that line of thunderstorms that is rolling its way to the east. Severe thunderstorm warning at 1:45, Laurel, McCreary, Pulaski, Rockcastle, Wayne, and Whitley counties. And that's going to be some of the same areas, Jim, that were really hard hit earlier today. I mean, we were getting a lot of video and pictures coming out of both London and Somerset of a lot of damage, a lot of trees that were knocked down from earlier storms. And Jim, earlier today, I think you raised a really good point on how we've had so much rain of late, and now we just had one big wind event roll through here. So the root system for the trees are pretty soft and weak right now because they were soft anyway. Well, now they may be a little weaker because the winds kind of moved the earth around a little bit, kind of getting some of those trees to wobble. And now we'll see if this line finishes a few of those off as it makes its way on in. Lexington, it is noisy, and it is getting noisy. And we've got some pretty good storms on the west side of town near Keeneland, rolling across the rest of Fayette County. So within 25, 30 minutes or so, the worst of the weather will be in and out of Lexington. Right now, right on top of Keeneland, and we can hear the thunder from here at the station, Masterson Station, where, by the way, Ben Beddoes was out earlier up here. He was talking about how today, May 27th, it was 20 years ago that we had an EF3 tornado touchdown in Masterson Station. Hard to believe it's been 20 years since that happened, first and foremost. But you know what, for Lexington, that was our last tornado that touched down in Fayette County. It has been 20 years since we have had a tornado anywhere in Fayette County. Now that, and I did the research back to the late 1800s, that is our longest stretch without a tornado in Lexington history. I mean, don't want to jinx anything, but the odds at some point are going to catch up to us. It's been 20 years, Jim, since we had a tornado in Fayette County. Kind of hard to believe, isn't it? Because we've had them in every county around us, but not Fayette County.
And nothing confirmed here in Fayette County. We've had some decent thunderstorms. You know, the big event back in March, big wind event.
Last year, March 3rd.
You know, but that's it. You're right. And, you know, then you had the 100-mile-per-hour gust that raced through downtown on campus at the University of Kentucky not long ago. So we've had stuff that's pretty similar and pretty intense, but no actual tornado.
No, and then you've got a county like Madison, just to our south, border county, that you've had numerous tornadoes during that same 20-year span, but not in Fayette County. But again, Jim, a lot of noisy thunderstorms are out there right now into central Kentucky. We still got that warning that is out for a part of Jessamine County, part of Garrett County, Boyle County, Mercer County, and over toward Richmond and Berea into Madison County with that line of thunderstorms that continues to race its way on in. And the storm, on the west side of Lexington down into Jessamine County, really flaring up just a little bit too. And it's getting noisy, to say the least, here in Lexington.
Well, that's what we're seeing for absolutely everyone right around us. It is noisy, so it's loud, and it is extremely heavy for a lot of you out there. The visibility, if folks have to leave in the middle of the night to go to work in the morning, I know it's holiday, but a lot of us still have to go in. And if you're one of those that have to leave here in the middle of the night for your shift, I would be leaving home here in about another couple of hours myself to come in for my shift, but I'm already here. So there's that. And you're looking inside that to check on some of those winds.
Yeah, we're just looking across Fayette County just to give everybody more or less, Jim, a peace of mind. No rotation showing up within that line that is on top of Lexington, so that is certainly good news. We like to see that.
I think gusts might be 30, 40 miles per hour right now out of that on the stronger side. So again, nothing severe at this moment. Now they can get stronger at any time, but I'm just saying radar estimates are at that level.
A couple of spots up in Scott County where you've got maybe just something that we'll keep an eye on, and down in toward Keene there into Jessamine County. But overall, not a lot that is just jumping off the radar at us right now, Jim, and that's a good thing.
Oh, very welcome. But yeah, you're right. There's some decent stuff over there on that side of Jessamine County too, as I was zooming in on that over here. But yeah, it's right up there around there. It's even better there. I can see it clear on our radar here.
Likely at least a pretty good winds coming out of the Keene area of Jessamine County. And that, by the way, near Keene is where we did have a tornado touchdown on April 2nd.
That's right.
Into Jessamine County.
That's absolutely right. And, you know, a lot of hit and miss damage in that area, too, with all of that. Warning's been flashing there, so they've cut some more of it off
back
on the
edge of that
side.
warning. Yeah.
So that's what's happened there with that. They've changed that back edge. They have dropped Mercer County from the warning.
Yeah, because the worst of it is out of Mercer County right now.
Yeah, that's gone now for those folks, because it's still heavy rain, but it's not. And lightning now. Lightning is still blowing through there, but the severe part of it has disappeared.
Don't you tempt me with a Keeneland cam again, talking lightning.
Well, I mean,
and of course, right now it's lighting up, so I may go back to it and give it one last try. There you go, Jim, with that tornado watch that goes until 6 a.m. and the numerous severe thunderstorm warnings that are out. Boone, Kenton, Campbell counties in northern Kentucky, down into Grant County, Owen County, into central Kentucky. Got Jessamine, Garrett, and Madison, southern Kentucky. We got Laurel, we got Whitley, we got McCreary, we got Pulaski, Wayne, Clinton, Cumberland counties, Adair, part of Taylor County, part of Greene County, and over into Russell County as well. I think I got them all.
I think you got them all. I think you nailed that. and here's the deal. You showed that tornado watch, the back edge of it peeling off. Wherever, I'm going to pull up the radar and I'm going to stop it at the current image. Wherever that leading edge is at the time, this right here, this is the worst part of the whole thing.
Yep.
So once it clears you, you are on a much safer side as far as the severe threat. Now, you can clearly see the lightning is still flashing from Louisville to E-Town to Bardstown, even down to Bowling Green. But the most significant part of it is right there. So once this clears you, you can have a little more peace in your life with that, because that means the potential worst weather has now moved through. So again, that's why the watch has dropped from the backside, Chris, and as soon as that line leaves some of these other locations, we will see that happen there as well.
Got some fresh power outages apparently showing up here. This is our new map. We're kind of creeping back up, Jim. We're up to almost 186,000 customers without power, which is still that's a lot of people. We peaked this afternoon at around 217,000, but now we're getting in on a lot of power outages out of Woodford County. These are fresh out of Woodford County, parts of Franklin County, and over into Anderson County. You see Woodford County. We're not talking about people. We're talking about just customers. Those are homes. Those are businesses that are currently without power. And into Woodford County itself, you got 1,200 without electric now, 1,200 customers that are without juice into Woodford County alone.
That's right. So you've got all kinds that are moving out through that area. Now with the storms moving into Fayette County, Chris, we've got our Alexa, I keep calling her Alexis, Alexa Minton. She is out there on the roads. Alexa, what are you seeing now?
Well, you know, I'm seeing that Jim needs to say my name right, but folks, we certainly are tracking a little bit of activity as we go into parts of Fayette County. A lot lighter. We're just by the airport now. A lot of the heavy stuff is just ahead of us. I'm with our reporter, Jessica Umbo, right now. She's driving the car while I sit passenger, but you just saw it right now, light up the sky. The main thing we're noticing as we're heading into Fayette County are some of those noisy skies. We've got definitely lots of lightning. There's periods of time where it lights up the entire skyline, looks like daylight. So, again, if you're not in an area where you're tracking that severe threat that Jim and Chris are doing such a good job of keeping everyone weather aware about, still be ready for a pretty noisy overnight. Again, you might not notice any sort of that severe damage, but you could be hearing lots of rumbles of thunder, and our skies are certainly loaded with lightning as this storm makes its way across parts of our area. Lots of pooling water is still on roadways and all along 60 going between parts of Frankfort into Versailles. We saw a lot of debris on the roadway. So if you do plan on heading out the door earlier tomorrow, make sure you give yourself plenty of extra time, because there's a good chance that there's not only going to be debris on the roadways, but definitely some things that might cause you to need to slow down as you head out the door tomorrow morning. But we're making our way through Fayette County here in parts of the Lexington area. But I'll send it back to you, Jim and Chris.
All right, stay safe. And again, you're seeing the light show there in the distance. A lot of lightning with these storms as they make their way through, and now the rain is hitting us here at the station and going to get a little noisy from time to time as well. We're on generator again here at the station, Jim. That way, you know what? We don't lose power. We get a power outage. We take a lightning strike. We are good to go, and you can hear the rain through my microphone and Jim's as well.
It's roaring right now on top of us.
Pretty noisy. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for a host of counties as this line continues to progress quickly across central Kentucky. That's going to get into eastern Kentucky over the next few hours. So we got warnings here into southern Ohio, and then sporadically we've got warnings that have been popping up along this line. But this line is nowhere near as strong, thankfully nowhere near as severe as the line of storms we had earlier in the day. Now, it doesn't mean we can't get some wind damage, because obviously we are seeing some fresh power outages into Anderson County, Franklin County, and Woodford County. So we're getting at least some power hits from lightning or trees that are taking out a line here or there. And I imagine, Jim, we're going to see the same thing here across southern Kentucky too, with the storm that is progressing toward Russell Springs and Jamestown. That's had the history of producing wind damage since Bowling Green, and actually that's part of the same cell, Jim, that merged. It was a supercell thunderstorm that merged with that line. That supercell thunderstorm was initially producing a long track tornado across western Kentucky.
It was that.
So
yeah.
Where that teamed up with the line is where we're still getting in on the greatest threat for wind damage, as that barrels its way to the east. So Monticello, we're watching this, Russell Springs, Jamestown, it is right on top of us, and that's going to continue to roll toward the east. So here we go, Lake Cumberland. Welcome to lake season. I mean, my goodness, what a terrible day it has been in terms of trying to do anything outdoors for the majority of the region. We had a lot of wind damage. So here's Jamestown, there's Russell Springs over toward the Bryant area, and 55 getting in on some of the worst of the weather, and that's going to continue to roll its way quickly toward the east. Now, if you're going to try and sneak in some lake time tomorrow, you're going to be in much better shape. But Jim, I have to think, given all the rain they've had down here, those lake waters may be a little muddy.
They will, and I'm thinking about debris too.
Yep.
I'm thinking about a lot of debris being blown into the lake, some extra branches and other things that are going to be out there as well. That's certainly going to be something, especially if we continue to get this heavy rain. Some of it will wash down too there. So you've got several things working against you to making it a beautiful day at the lake for sure. I'm easing back up here to around Richmond. Richmond, you haven't really picked up the significant stuff yet that's giving you a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's close. It's right now crossing the county line, and it's coming in, especially from the Jessamine County side there. You can see it. And then all the way down to Lancaster as well. You've got the activity north of that, and then again heading right toward Richmond and through downtown Lexington. It has certainly been quite the event with the heavier rain, but nothing severe at this time. And I'm going to pull a Chris.
We're going to try it.
I'm going to pull because I just turned around to see that cam out there at Keeneland, and it lit up, looked like daylight there for a second, like we were watching part of the. We're going to go for it.
We're going to catch some good lightning, because I mean, the lightning has been pretty much off the charts. Hey, we caught just a little bit right there.
Yeah, wasn't a daylight changer.
It wasn't a daylight shot, but as we sometimes get those big lightning strikes like that, Jim, that light up everything, makes it look like daylight out there. You know, back in the day, I don't know if those lights are still like that. The daylight to from daylight to dark, those overnight lights with the eye on them.
Street lights, yeah.
Street lights. Sometimes the sensor will get fooled into thinking that the sun came out, and they would go off a little bit.
That's right. I remember that many times growing up.
Yeah, and then you'd wait for them to pop right back on. So we'll see if that's the case. But here on the west side of town, the worst of the weather is now through Keeneland, but the lightning goes all the way, and the heavy rain goes all the way back to Louisville. Jim, we can pull up our tower cam now, because I got a sneaking suspicion we're going to get some pretty good lightning from that, because there
it is.
There you go. Right on top of us is the worst of the weather. And like what we were seeing on that downtown Lexington cam earlier today, when that severe thunderstorm was racing through, you're seeing the wind just pushing the rains now horizontally across our camera, the casing that the camera is in. It's kind of in a glass casing, so we can get a 360 view with that and keep the camera dry. But yeah, you're seeing that water from the gusty winds. And of course, the camera's 300 feet up. You're going to get some higher winds up there.
Oh yeah, it'll cause it to dance in many different ways out there. There comes another streak of lightning here in our area. And the First Alert Radar Network looks like this. I'm going to pull it up for you so you can see. These storms stretch from just outside of our northern Kentucky counties, just north of Maysville, all the way down to Tennessee. Now, right now in Tennessee, I'm not seeing any warnings around Nashville. I've got some more severe thunderstorm warnings out there in West Tennessee, and even around Memphis. You'll see some of that joining forces. But around here, it's all severe thunderstorm warnings, and high wind, your primary culprit of what's driving through there. Look at all that lightning right now.
Yeah, that's a powerhouse of a little storm that is right on top of Clinton County up into Russell County. I mean, that's the strongest storm on the radar, at least based on just the pure radar view, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's stout, and I mean, it's got plenty of lightning associated with it too, so it's pulsed up there quite a bit.
And it's rolling its way toward right on top of Lake Cumberland, Somerset, and Monticello. That's why you guys here are under this severe thunderstorm warning. It goes through Whitley City and gets almost into downtown Williamsburg. Not quite. Gets into right up against Corbin and gets into London, but we got quite the light show that is out there into central Kentucky. Alexa Minton back in Lexington right now, and you're seeing that light show firsthand, aren't you?
Yeah, we certainly are. I mean, myself right there, you just saw some more of that lightning light up the sky. I'm with our reporter, Jessica Umbro. She's driving while I'm sitting passenger, and we've been making our way. We first went out towards Frankfort, and then we've been riding this storm all the way in. And as we approach the downtown Lexington area, like you both just said, not necessarily anything severe in Fayette County, but certainly quite the noisy light show we are seeing. Lots of lightning is still loaded throughout parts of our area. And we also noticed when we were in parts of Woodford County, there's around 1,200 people without power as well. So lots of damage was all along 60 as you go between Frankfort and Versailles. You can still feel some of these heavy raindrops that are causing some, pooling of water on roadways. But that lightning is the main thing you're probably going to be noticing if you're looking out your window to see all this weather activity, folks. Definitely making it feel like you're seeing daylight at some times. There goes another lightning strike. We'll continue to track this as we make our way back towards KYT and follow behind the storm system. But certainly, lots of lightning is what we're noticing right now as we're on the roadways right now, Jim and Chris.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot more traffic on the roads than I would expect this time of night as well during a thunderstorm on the Sunday night leading into Memorial Day. But you guys stay safe out there. We'll see you back here at the station coming up momentarily as the rain is really now coming down here at the station. But the worst of the weather is with this part of our cell, this part of our line. That cell right on top of Lake Cumberland is barreling its way into Wayne County, into Russell County, southern parts of Pulaski County, and that's likely to cause some more wind damage here as it continues to make its way on from west to east. Farther to the north, Jim will take this radar back up into the Bluegrass region to show that heavy rain that is out there, but nothing that is overly severe with this. And in about 10-15 minutes in Lexington, we get this worst of the leading edge of the line of thunderstorms out of here. It's still going to rain to beat the band for a couple of hours. You're going to hear thunder. It's going to be noisy. but we're going to be okay. We're out of the woods in terms of severe weather behind that initial line. So, Jim, as that line goes through, you're noisy, it's heavy rain, but you know what? That's not severe. That's not going to bother anybody. And for some of you, it may make you sleep a little better at night to hear all the heavy rain on the rooftop.
That's the kind of the rain that's following that.
Until the thunder jolts you out of bed. And then,
because there's still some of that
double-edged sword, right?
I mean, you still got lightning on the backside. I mean, it's still showing up all the way around Louisville too. And you know, it's been a while since they've had anything significant go through there. They had some warnings earlier. But along that line, again, that's what it's all about. Once you get that line there leading the way, once it's gone, you are in much better shape. That means your severe threat has dropped significantly. So that's that line right there. That's why you have warnings all the way into Laurel County and Whitley County. That's why you have warning all the way up into Richmond right now. But nothing out for Lexington, though it is certainly very loud, pretty intense, but not crossing that threshold to give us a full-blown severe thunderstorm warning as the rumble of thunder is rolling over our heads here in Fayette.
Yeah, and the peak gusts on the Kentucky Mesonet sites, Jim, right now since midnight into the Lexington Metro, pushing around 40 miles an hour. So that's what we're dealing with at the moment.
That's below severe criteria for it to be called a warning. You know, but here's the thing. You get a 40, 50 mile per hour gust with all the rain we've picked up here.
Yeah.
And you still could topple some trees rather easily.
Yeah, we've peaked out at the airport at 44 miles an hour with this line moving through. At Bluegrass Airport, we hit 44 miles an hour with this, and that's been the highest wind gust here into Fayette County so far with this current line that is out there, which again is below the severe threshold.
We had the one earlier in the day officially go at 52 at the northern Mesonet site in northern parts of Fayette County.
Pretty good wind on the east side of Lexington showing up with that making its way on through near Hamburg Pavilion.
It's kind of pushed out almost like a little bow.
It's almost a little bow, that's right.
And inside itself there.
And that's moving into Clark County and is going to move right up into Bourbon County as well. So here's the southern split along the interstate. This would be the Hamburg Pavilion area. Here's US 60 Winchester Road, as we'll call it. We're about right in here, and you can see how we've got a pretty good thunderstorm that is on the east side of Lexington. And we can pause this, Jim, and look inside this because you can see that little burst of some higher winds that are showing up as of right now. And again, we're seeing some decent wind that is right on top of Interstate 64, Hamburg Pavilion. That'll likely lift into western parts of Clark County and into Bourbon County as well. So we'll look inside this, see what kind of wind we are dealing with. But again, west side of Lexington, yeah, the worst is over. East side, it is still right on top of us as of now. We do have a traffic cam to look at. This is, where are we looking at here, Michael? Oh, just over here at Hamburg. That looks like right over top of the interstate, Man-O-War, I-75. And you can see, Jim, on that top right camera is dancing around a little bit.
Oh, it's getting pushed, that's for sure. And you can see the rain coming down in sheets there. And then that's what a lot of that is, too. The wind just driving it right into it and shaking it up a little bit. But that's what we have. That's essentially what we've got right outside the station, too.
Yeah, that's not far. We could walk to there at that point at some point. Of course, we may not get there for a little while, but we could walk to it. Let me show you the radar picture again, because you can see those brighter colors in here. Nothing that is indicating tornadic activity, but some higher winds right on top of the Clark and Fayette County line, and very close to that camera view we were looking at. This is lifting off to the east and the northeast, so western Clark County into Bourbon County. Pretty good winds that are showing up here. Polo Club Boulevard, east side of town, over toward everybody living up and down 60, which Winchester Road, Lexington Road, depends on which side you're traveling to and from, right?
Right.
But that's what we're dealing with right now. So folks around Greenbrier getting in on a lot of wind, a lot of heavy rain. It's noisy, but we're about to get rid of this. And once this goes through, as Jim said, the severe weather threat pretty much is over after that. Now, notice it just updated, Jim, with that sweep that went through, and yeah, those are pretty good winds here on the Clark and Fayette County line. That is lifting, eventually going to impact Winchester, North Middletown, may get into Paris as well. So that leading edge of that line, as it made its way into Fayette County and got on the east side of town, all of a sudden it started to blow up a little bit. And that's what we're dealing with. Probably at least some 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts with that.
Well, radar estimates go 50 to even 60 now, is what I'm looking at.
So it's increasing.
There's a little embedded band in there. So, and that's getting into Clark County. And that right there would push you to a warning by itself. So it'd be nice to get the trigger pulled on that one, just in case, because you're getting to that level where wind can cause some real issues at that speed. That's why the severe thunderstorm warning criteria goes to that level right there. That's why they started there, because it can start doing some things.
Yeah, and where Jim's talking about that radar estimate of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds right in here from right on top of the interstate back into the western side of Clark County. That would continue to lift its way to the north and the northeast, and it's moving away from the station. We can hear the rain, lightning up just a little bit right now, but it's going to pick up the pace here into Winchester, likewise up into Paris. Big gusts of wind is coming with this into the western part of Clark County and southern sections of Bourbon County as we speak. No warning is out for that, but as Jim said, I think that could very easily meet the warning criteria of winds pushing 60 miles an hour.
I mean, it's right there. And what I'm doing over here on my phone, Chris, I'm checking my security cams to see if my grill and everything is still intact there, and then just see what's going on around the house.
Man cannot lose his grill on Memorial Day weekend.
Right. Well, everything you can probably hear it.
Hear the wind?
You can hear it in my phone or in my microphone. Everything seems to be intact back there, so it hasn't lifted and taken anything off the back porch, but it is certainly a stout one moving through that area. I'm just going to kind of skim around, just continue to look and see.
Yeah, essentially that's a small-scale severe thunderstorm that is.
It is, yeah.
It's right on top of the Clark-Fayette County line and lifting to the north into southern Bourbon County.
That is where it is right now. You're right. So it'll be crossing the interstate and then shooting right up. And there's your full scan update right there, giving you showing you again that it's stout. It is. That's probably one of the stronger ones that we have. Certainly in central Kentucky right now that's not warned. And then you go south to where the actual warning was that went through parts of Madison County. And let me back off for a second. And they're still seeing some good wind, and they've got the warning that continues. And it's just now entering Richmond proper. And there you see the highlighted area of yellow that just includes Richmond and continues to go. And my power just went out at home. So power outage now in Clark County. One of a few. Yeah, I just got notification. My security system goes offline. It still has battery backup, but it still sends out a signal.
Okay.
And so that's how I know. So there was that.
And, you know, there's a Kentucky Mesonet site that's right there, just about in the line of fire. So that should be updating here in a little bit. We'll see just how high the wind gusts got with that. But that severe thunderstorm warning is out for Madison County for the next little bit. But what we have been focusing on, these storms that are on the east side of Lexington into far western parts of Clark County, now getting up into Bourbon County. Nothing tornadic with these cells as of now. We'll continue to watch them. The strongest storm continues to be right on top of southern Kentucky, on top of Lake Cumberland, and that is rolling its way into Monticello, the Powersburg area. These were areas that have been hard hit over the past couple of days as well. So that's what we've been watching. Look at all the heavy rain coming in behind this line of strong and severe thunderstorms. So if you love a rainy night like Eddie Rabbit, this is your kind of night with a lot of thunder and lightning that'll continue to make its way through the region. But this line, Jim, thankfully, even though we've got some pockets of wind damage that have been showing up with this, thankfully this is not living up to the bar that was set by this morning's severe line of thunderstorms.
Right. Again, that one came through and had all kinds of activity, strong winds, 60, 70 miles per hour. You know what? They may do some of these surveys, and they'll do surveys with all the damage. And they might find they were even stronger than that. You know, that's the thing.
And very likely, I think, Jim, you know, once these surveys get underway the next few days, you will probably find a couple of tornado touchdowns into central and southern Kentucky, especially. I think one of the areas I keep getting information from, Corbin.
Corbin, I think so. Yeah.
May very well have been hit by a small, weak tornado earlier today.
Yeah.
Now we did pop a warning for that. So we'll see if that, you know, comes to pass. Numerous now, Jim, that line, by the way, into central Kentucky, numerous 40+ mile-per-hour gusts from the mesonet sites. So indicative that line is still packing quite a bit of wind as it makes its way through Lexington. And now the worst for Lexington, for Georgetown, is pretty much over. It's to our east now. Frankfort, it's going to rain. It's going to be a little noisy, but the severe weather threat in Lexington and into Georgetown and points west has pretty much ended. So that's a good thing.
And you're talking about the largest populated area that we cover right here around these few counties. And that is certainly a good sign because we continue to monitor it in a weakened form, I hope, as it keeps rolling along here off toward the east, but still with a severe thunderstorm warning in there in Madison County.
Yeah, and right behind, Jim, we continue to kind of whittle away counties from that tornado watch. So you see the back edge of this just keeps getting whittled away. Frankfort and Mercer County were now being taken out of that. And what I can do, I can change this over here so we can give you updated area that removes some of those counties. There you go. So west of Lexington, we've been removed from that tornado watch. Good news.
And listen, here soon, as soon as they can update, Fayette will be gone too. No, you know, that's the thing. They're peeling counties off the back of it. Ooh, that was a good strike right there, wasn't it? Did you hear that?
Yeah. I saw it on our tower cam too. But if I try to show it on TV, it won't show up. You won't have lightning.
Yeah, it won't happen. It certainly won't happen. You won't be able to tie it in. It won't do it. But there it is. The watch continues to kind of fade away on the backside. And it will, I'm like you, I don't think it's going to make it to 6 o'clock in the morning.
No way.
Not
a chance.
The more I look at it, the more I'm like, no, there's no way. Because, we're closing in on 1:30 here this morning. And the vast majority of the area is gone. We just have basically east of I-75 is left. That's what's left with that watch.
Yeah, any small circulations within that line, that's the only thing we're kind of on guard for as of right now, Jim. It would be a quick hit and run. This is nothing that is going to produce any long tracked or violent tornadoes. And man, the power outage map, we're back up to almost 200,000. So we are climbing yet again. If we could pull that back up and show folks what we're dealing with. But yeah, the outage map is way back up. We got about 6,000 customers in Pulaski County. You see that map right there, Jim, with the areas that are hard hit. And again, pushing close to 200,000. We peaked at around 217,000 during the height of today's storms. Right now, we had dropped that to what, 170, 160 some maybe?
There for a little while, yeah.
Now we're back up approaching 200,000. And as those storms continue to get into eastern Kentucky, you're going to see more in the way of power outages that are showing up. And again, we're not tracking people without power, we're tracking customers. So 197,576 establishments, whether they be homes or businesses, are without power.
Or without power. Hey, Michael, go up to Clark County for just a second. This is just me being curious.
Jim wants to know why his power's out.
Well, mine out of 16,000 tracked by this site.
You're one of the 150.
I'm one of the 150. So
now maybe it's a little behind. Maybe it's playing catch up. Maybe.
Well, I don't know, but I'm one of the rarities out there. I can't get back to my security.
This we know, my man.
Can't do anything. All right, that was just me being nosy for myself to find out. But we can ramp up this radar again for you and show you some of the thunderstorms that are still plowing through the area here as we go into the wee hours of the night. It's closing in on 1:30 in the morning. And Somerset, it is loud and rocking right on top of you with winds potentially up to 60 miles per hour. That's on top of you. It's passed over the bulk of Lake Cumberland, but it still has a little bit more to go because that is a big old lake down there. Monticello, now you have maybe what is the most intense section of all of this line right now. It looks like it's right there on top of Monticello. And then you go up through Richmond, where the warning is still active. And then you go to Paris, Winchester, Chris, and that's where Alexa is, right?
I think so. Passing just past the station, Alexa Minton. Yeah, you're literally just past the station, right?
Yeah, we literally just drove right by the station. We're still headed on 60 into parts of Winchester. I mean, some of the lightning that we're seeing is quite literally, we got both cloud to ground and cloud to cloud lightning. Just like that one, folks. It's quite the light show still that we're dealing with. We're in a little bit of the lighter rainfall, but even though our visibility isn't necessarily reduced by heavy rainfall, what we're noticing is definitely a lot of pooling water on roadways. As we were going on 60, just under that I-75 overpass, we had to stop for a second because we hydroplaned a little bit. Folks, remember, it only takes around 1/10 of an inch of water for you to start to hydroplane, so a lot of this rain is still going to be sticking around for a while, even though that severe threat is diminishing. So just make sure you give yourself plenty of time. There's damage on the roadways. There's water on the roadways. I know we're in the overnight right now, but obviously that damage is not going to get cleaned up by the time you're planning on headed out the door on your Memorial Day tomorrow. Folks, still noticing lots of lightning across parts of the area, giving us a little bit of a light show, but we're going to follow this rain into some of that heavier stuff we were seeing in parts of Winchester and then up towards Paris as we continue to track, hopefully, what's going to eventually calm down in parts of the overnight, right, Jim and Chris?
Yeah, yes, indeed, and that calming down process is underway as that line continues to make its way through central Kentucky, now into eastern Kentucky, and the worst of the weather in terms of the severe thunderstorm action is without question, Jim, down around the Lake Cumberland area and points to the east from there. You know, we were tracking a couple of what looked like to us circulations, at least small scale, Harrodsburg up into Salvisa and the Bergen areas, Mercer County. We're getting some reports of trees down in the roadway there, Bergen Road, even potential now, hearing of a little roof damage in Harrodsburg and a fire that may be underway near Bergen too. So, you know, that's part of our severe weather this evening, and that was the area we were honing in on, was Mercer County, and really trying to get a warning issued for that area. And now we're getting some reports of some damage coming out of Mercer County, which may be indicative of, again, those high winds. At least the high winds.
It took forever to get the warning, but the warning came out, and the warning was issued there, and now you're getting all these reports. The reports always lag behind, as we know, because people are hopefully taking shelter when it's right on top of you like that.
Now, in National Weather Service chat, Monticello, the police department down there, is reporting that EMS and fire responding to Conley Bottom Resort in Wayne County in the Lake Cumberland area. Numerous 911 calls reporting a roof collapse onto boats at a main pier of people trapped on the boats.
I see that.
So that is a report that is coming in right now. So that would be the Conley Bottom area into Lake Cumberland. And Jim, obviously a very, very populated area.
And a lot of people down there right now. I know we talked to a friend of ours earlier today that was out last night and was planning to be out, or was out early this morning when those storms went through. So I know that people are down there because they come from all around. You know, they're coming, especially from Ohio. We got a big population for folks from Ohio that get down there to Lake Cumberland. It's a big time spot for them to kind of get away. And that's exactly what it was. And, you know, just to give you an example of what was going on out there earlier at Conley Bottom, you know, we've got some video just from, this was from earlier today. This was before whatever caused this issue tonight. So this was what was blowing into that area, causing those issues earlier. Watch those. Watch. It looks like you're, the way the water is coming in there and breaking, it looks like you're out there on the ocean. I mean, that is how intense some
choppy
of that is.
Seas, right?
Very, very choppy. Absolutely.
The sea was angry that day, my my friend.
So this was during the, 1, 2, 3 o'clock time frame when it was going through that area today. So that was earlier. Now they've run into this, again, what you were saying with that looks like the roof has collapsed there at the pier onto some boats at the main pier at Conley Bottom Resort. So, and that's from there earlier today too, Chris. That's the same spot.
Yeah, the same spot that you're looking at right now, hit hard again tonight, with the possibility of of a lot of damage from there. So again, that's just a report that's coming in from police department down there, being relayed to the National Weather Service. So hopefully we have maybe some folks up there in the newsroom that can make a call down there, Monticello Police Department, see what is going on, maybe 911 there into Wayne County, just to see, what's happening down there in regard to the possible incident there at Conley Bottom.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many boats were there. I don't know how many people were staying there tonight. Hopefully they weren't. Hopefully they did get away. I hated to say that going into this weekend, saying, maybe you just don't boat on Sunday. But I meant it, and now we're seeing why. I mean, with 3 waves that have gone through there today, a severe one early, a strong one after that, and then another severe one, which is there right now. It's just about cleared the entire lake, but it's got a little bit more to go once it kind of clears out of that southwest corner of Pulaski County and into northern parts of Wayne County there too. So this area has been repeatedly hit with this today. It's been that spot right down there from there to Corbin and kind of beyond. And we had numerous reports even more to the east of that as well. Look at that storm there, Chris, that's going into Montgomery County now.
Yeah. Really
starting to pulse up a little bit.
Yeah, and by the way, Jim, I just got a picture on my at Kentucky Weather Twitter feed, power out in Winchester. So quite a power outage there into Clark County. So I think our map was just playing catch up on the extent of the power out there into Clark County.
All I know is it's me, and I don't have a heavy duty generator. And what are we looking at here? Where's this?
That's the power out. Right there,
that's showing the power that's it, out.
Yep.
So
that's what they're dealing with.
That's the look of the skies.
And we've got right now almost 200,000 customers across Kentucky without electric tonight. It stinks anytime, obviously. Here we are, holiday weekend, Jim. A lot of folks, on our Memorial Day, kind of a somber day for a lot of folks anyway, as we remember those who have served and passed on. And here we are dealing with severe weather to start this Memorial Day. And I'm still efforting. I'm trying to look through everything I can find to see if we can get any confirmation coming out of Wayne County, the Conley Bottom area.
Now, so you're flipping through all the stuff that you've been sent here today. I'll just kind of work myself back down this line. That severe thunderstorm warning no longer active for Madison County, of course. That went to the wayside as it weakened. We get down to the ones there in Pulaski County and then going into Laurel County as well. And they are still active with warnings. I think they were set to go until 45, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll plot it again. Yeah, 145. So you've got roughly 11 minutes left on that, and we might see some extensions on it because it has been one of the more intense areas. However, I will say this, it has lost some of its strength over the past few little returns that are coming in here from radar, so it doesn't look quite as bad as it did a little bit earlier. But that race to the east continues from Pulaski to down into Wayne and McCrary, Laurel, and a section of Whitley County as well that turns and bends right into Williamsburg. Have you found anything yet from your feed from down in that area that suggests that's what's happened?
Yeah, nothing yet to confirm that, but getting reports of power lines that are down on some homes there around that same part of the lake near Conley there. So that's what we're dealing with. And again, I know our newsroom is calling down there. I'm checking back in with the chat from National Weather Service, and the Monticello Wayne County 911 paging out EMS and fire to Conley Bottom Resort Wayne County, Lake Cumberland, a lot of 911 calls apparently coming in of a roof collapse on the boats at the main pier with people trapped on the boats. That is verbatim what is being relayed to the National Weather Service from the Monticello Police Department.
Well, I mean, that's as good of a source as any, coming straight from the police.
Right, right. Now, obviously, those are 911 calls. I don't think they've arrived on the scene yet to verify the severity of the damage, or, to make sure the damage does exist. We certainly hope it does not. We certainly hope that is not the case. But those storms that were rolling through there, Jim, packing a bit of a punch, and it was the same storm that had initially caused all that damage around Bowling Green that made its way through there.
Right. That's how long this thing has lasted. And that officially recorded a 62 mile per hour gust there in Warren County earlier.
In Bowling Green.
And, yeah, right around them. So and now here it is. Still causing some problems. But you got to think, we had the 2 waves earlier. Did that weaken some things? Did that, just kind of break things down a little bit more and then led to this? Maybe they got a good, quick, hard gust that, kind of went and slipped through the cracks, and that's what you got. But we did have severe warnings out for that, so that was a close one. That was a close one.
When you got a 1,000-foot lightning rod outside your door here like we do, Jim, it takes some shots every now and again, doesn't it?
Yes, it's right here. And I've seen cases when I was working at my old station in Hazard. We had lightning strike right at the station, at the tower right beside us, and you felt it. You felt it go through the building, and it literally blew headphones out of somebody's ear, and they busted. I'd never seen anything like that, and didn't even. And until you see something, you don't know it can really happen, and it happened. So that's how dangerous that can be.
Yeah, and you recall last year, Jim, you and I had to go to Facebook Live here via a cell phone, via your phone.
We did. Because
not only did we lose power, our generator decided, hey, it wanted to take a few minutes off, so we sat in dark, and the only thing we had to do was punch up our cell phone and go live.
And that's what we did.
And we still did.
And right now we are live on television, we're live through our app, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. We are live all over the place right now. So we appreciate all of you, and hopefully we can settle you down here within the next little bit. That's the goal, because we want the weather to kind of settle down too. But we've got another picture that we've got from the feed, and this is in, did you say this is in Garrett County? All right. And what? Oh yeah, we got some, here we go. Yeah, you've got a roof blown off the top there of that building off in the distance. Lucky to see that camper still.
So that is fresh video. That is tonight.
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking at here?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's still pretty dark.
So that is Garrett County.
And so that's what's happened out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would be part of the same storm, Jim, that rolled out of Mercer County into Garrett County, where we're getting reports of damage into Mercer County as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So those little kinks that we were looking at, that we essentially had to beg to get a warning issued for, now proving to at least produce some damage.
Well, they have produced damage. Right there it is. That's the proof that you needed to see. Flip back to that other picture for me, please, so we can look at that one too. Okay, whatever that is off in the distance, it looks like, yeah, that's at least a fence, perhaps, and maybe a building. It's hard to tell because it's been torn up, whatever the case may be. So that was from a little bit earlier. So another verified report of some damage by just seeing it right there. All right, I'm going to zoom in on these. I got a message a second ago saying that the winds were intense in Montgomery County over in Mount Sterling, from my brother-in-law who lives there, and I'll tell you, it is pretty intense for sure. A lot of lightning, and of course it's loud with thunder and very heavy rain, and then going over toward Owingsville as well. So you're going from Montgomery over into Bath County, and we're loaded over there. That ride on the interstate is not a fun one right now. No way from getting to the Clark-Montgomery line and then going all the way into Bath County and getting close to Rowan County. That's a tough way to go. And now what's happening, Chris, it just hit me to start thinking about another lake. Now you've got Cave Run that's getting awfully close to some of this late night action as well. So even more trying to roll through there. That's where we're headed with this. Already through Richmond, already through Mount Vernon. Somerset, you're just about all clear. That warning really not for you any longer, and it's not for you folks there in Monticello. Yeah, I know you're still hearing some thunder, you got rain and all that, but this is beginning to wind down for us tonight. And I'll show you, I'm going to go up here and show you the tornado watch to see what the latest on that is, to see how many extra counties have been dropped since last time. But right now, most of that is in the clear. I'm going to draw on this so you can see what I'm talking about. Up to 1,300 out now. It is over 200,000 now, Chris. But right here, about right like this, okay? Anything east of that line, you've still got a shot. Anything west of that line, you are in the clear as far as the significant severe weather. Is it going to continue to rain? Yes. Is it going to be loud? Yes. So that's still out there. Yeah, for sure.
And again, Jim, we're still, working to confirm what is going on at Connolly Bottom there on Lake Cumberland. I've been scanning through social media and trying to find some information from down in that area, and some folks who are kind of checking it on various social media forums from down there, confirming some damage. One even said it had a wind gust close to 60 miles an hour. They had confirmed on one of their gauges there at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah. So what they have. Yeah.
So, we are getting some damage. New severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, coming in here with this cell that essentially, Jim, is the one that caused the issues into Fayette County, made its way to the northeast through Clark County. And now, as it crosses out of the National Weather Service in Louisville's jurisdiction into the National Weather Service in Jackson's jurisdiction, they stick out a warning for this. Lexington Metro gets overlooked often when it comes to severe weather alerts. From Mount Sterling into Owingsville, this storm is rolling its way to the northeast until 2:15. Bath, Fleming, Menifee, Montgomery, and Rowan. That includes Moorhead. That includes Hillsborough. This gets into the Owingsville area, much of Montgomery County, Mount Sterling. We're kind of on the western edge of that, but that is to the east of us and into northern parts of Menifee County as well. So that is potent thunderstorm, Jim, that is likely producing wind damage. And you know what this is going to do? This is going to knock out some power to these same areas yet again. We'll look inside this. It's a pretty good wind. May not be anything spinning with this, any tornadic, maybe just a little kink right here. But you see that signature. That is a pretty good wind signature for some damaging winds that is loaded up and heading to the east on Interstate 64. And it's going to continue to cause those issues right on top of the interstate. So Montgomery County into Bath County over toward Cave Run Lake. So we know we got some issues down on Lake Cumberland. Now, Jim, we're watching Cave Run Lake for some issues with a severe thunderstorm that is coming in there.
That's exactly right.
Busy lake too. And here we are the night before Memorial Day. Chances are we got some folks who are kind of spending the night on the water down out at Cave Run Lake. So here's hoping we don't have any damage to folks out there, because obviously when you're out on the water like that, Jim, the wind speeds, they don't have as much friction.
Oh yeah.
So they can really speed up.
They can literally set sail. I mean, well, not literally, but I mean they can really start to cause it to churn. And right there, I took that part of the warning down just so you could see where Cave Run is. See the blue there. That right there is Cave Run. Clearly not as large as Lake Cumberland, but a lot of people will get out there in a lot of campgrounds. You see the Zilpo recreation area. I am sure it is booked solid with people. People have packed in there for this weekend, and I've been there, and cell phone service is very sketchy. It was the last time I was there. So there's that concern. So if you're still watching with us, and you know somebody that's out there, I mean, and let them know this is a good one. This is at least producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. Then that can topple a camper easy.
Oh, without question. And the video, by the way, the pictures a minute ago, Jim, you were looking at of the wind damage out of Garrett County, northern Garrett County. That was boat storage units.
That's what that was.
That's what that was.
Oh no.
And that is North Ridge Road in Lancaster. So northern parts of Garrett County. So that damage, I don't know if we have that picture we can go back to, but what we were looking at with that structural damage there was to a boat storage facility.
I couldn't figure out what it was.
There it is.
There it is.
That's it. So Conley Bottom, and now this, a bad night for anything associated with boating. I mean, not making light of it, but just kind of the facts.
Well, I mean, it's all kind of coming together. And that's what we hit on all week about, this is coming at a bad time. People are going to be out of pocket. They're not going to have a plan because they're going to be somewhere that they're not familiar with. They know it well, but do you know it well enough to navigate, a severe weather situation? That's the thing. But there it is. That's what you said. You said it was a boat storage place, and that's what we have there with some decent damage right now. I mean, the light of day will have to reveal how bad that damage is. But we continue monitoring on First Alert Radar Network a severe thunderstorm warning that is blowing through Mount Sterling. It's going into Owingsville and Moorhead. You are right there in the path of at least 60-mile-per-hour winds. And something I haven't had a lot of, actual reports of hail. I haven't seen many of them, but there's an extra tagline saying, quarter-sized hail is a good possibility within this. I'm not seeing a signature on that radar, that setup, but it's there. It's there for sure.
Yeah, and Jim, the more I look over the social media coming out of Conley Bottom, folks in there talking about it, so does seem to be. No wonder we're getting a lot of 911 calls, because a lot of people are reporting damage in and around the marina there, and not only on the marina, but in surrounding areas too. Lots of power outages, lots of trees down in that specific area. So, we at some point we may have to take the radar back just to see if there was anything that was spinning going through there, or if we were just talking about a pure straight line wind that made its way right on top of the Conley Bottom area. I'm
going to do it right now for you.
And we're seeing a big increase in power outages. We're up to 204,000 customers that are without power in Kentucky again, and that number is just climbing as we speak, and that's going to continue to be the case. So Jim's taking our radar, and we're getting, that line of thunderstorms as it made its way just to the east of Lexington is flexing again with a lot of wind, and some pockets in there, 50 and 60 mile-per-hour wind gusts that we are dealing with. And what Jim's looking at, he's going back toward the Conley Bottom area, Lake Cumberland there into the Monticello area, or north of Monticello into Wayne County, to see what those storms were looking like as they made their way through.
That's an old image right there.
It's an old image. That's not a current image. Right.
Let me see if I can get the timestamp real quick.
So the mesonet there had a gust of 44 miles per hour into northern Wayne County. But as we say, Jim, the chances that the strongest winds are hit a dot on the map are incredibly, incredibly small.
Indeed. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's what we're talking about. Again, I'm doing about 5 things over here trying to find.
Yeah, do your thing, and I'm continuing to look through, the social media just to see what is going on down there into areas of Monticello. So, in Wayne County, near the Conley Bottom area. So that is the focus right now, and. There are a lot of groups down there that are on social media and things like that are posting real-time information. Not seeing anything. And I know, Jim, you're taking this back to kind of look through everything and
that's what I'm trying to do, trying to get back there to it
and see what else is going on. If we can go back, guys, to take our tower cam for just a little bit while Jim is kind of looking through the radar, and we can go back here and we'll take this tower cam for just a moment, and we'll scan the skies while Jim is scanning our radar picture, and we can just show you the lightning that is ongoing, as it is pretty intense. Of course, we just get some major flashes right before we can put this thing on. But those winds down there, Jim, associated with this were likely up there at around 60 miles an hour or greater as that line made its way through. So what we can do with this, what's up there, and again, this is an older image, we'll just take this and we'll just straight look at the winds. We'll go back with this, and Jim, there's a little enhancement there on the leading edge of this, near Conley Bottom. You can see that on our image there, going right over top of the lake. And then it made its way on through. We'll kind of scan this a little farther to the east, where Conley Bottom is, near Mill Springs, right?
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
So we'll be right over in this general area. We'll take this back, and again, we're just looking back to see what all made its way across that part of the world. So you could see almost right on the leading edge of that.
Yeah, I mean, right there, right there, close to that spot you're seeing there, close to Mill Springs.
So yeah, Conley Bottom's generally what, right in here, give or take a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit back. Yeah, a little more to the west. Yeah,
near Mill Springs, and you can see there may have been just a smidge of some rotation as the leading edge of that storm worked its way. You can see here's the lake snaking its way through here. So Conley Bottom in this general vicinity, right in here, and we had the worst of the weather. Yeah, there you go. And the worst of the weather made its way right on top of this particular area. So no wonder we're getting in on some wind damage with that. Question, I guess, will become now, Jim, straight line winds, a little weak spin up. We will be finding out. Obviously, National Weather Service office is going to have a lot of storm surveys to be doing as we go through the next few days, but there may have been just a quick little bit of some spin on the leading edge of that as it made its way over top of the Conley Bottom area.
Literally right there, Chris. That's it. That little knob, as you see, that little piece of land that's sticking straight up there. That's it. And then you get that over top of it just a little while ago. And then the wind, of course, stayed active for a while. So that's what we're looking at. We've gone back in time here. I'm going to get you back to current conditions. We're just trying to evaluate what happened down there because the reports are just flying in from down around that area.
And again, we're up to more than 205,000 customers now without power again.
205,000.
I mean, now, Jim, we are since around noon today, okay, we have not been below 100,000 customers. Noon yesterday, I guess, at this point.
Noon yesterday, that's right.
Without at least 100,000 plus customers without electric.
And here we are again, you know, likely to tack on more to that number as we move forward. And it's now that leading edge on that severe thunderstorm warning closing in on Cave Run and then making its way into the rest of Rowan County. Right there's Sharkey. We all know the Sharkey exit. If you traveled that Interstate 64, you know it. There's 60 or 801, and then you've got US 60 that runs forever and forever, and it's right there. So the leading edge is with you. It's passing through Salt Lick, Owensville. You're almost in the clear. And for the folks out in Mount Sterling, even though the warning is showing right there, you can see the outline of it. The warning has actually cleared the Mount Sterling area. Here's the edge of the warning. So you're good now. It's still rainy and it's probably still very windy, but the severe section of this has now moved east of you and will continue right on track through the rest of Bath County. Owensville, you're not too far away from getting out of that potential danger zone either.
And Jim, you know, we concentrated on Mercer County for a long time with a couple of small little what looked like couplets, which may have been some brief spin-ups, all right? So Mercer County Fire District there out of Harrodsburg advising people in just the past half hour or so, do not leave your homes to explore the damage. It's dark, it's raining, there are trees down across several of our roads, especially between Bergen and Shakertown, and we ask that you stay out of these areas as fire crews respond to emergency calls. So wow. That's what we're dealing with out of Mercer County.
That's what it says. A friend of mine working out at what they call the dairy there in Clark County says lightning hit their building there, no power, and it'll be, they're being told there that it could be 8 hours. 8 hours before they get someone out there, and that's out there in Clark County. So everybody locally over there knows it as the dairy, and sure enough, that's what we're running into here tonight. And of course, they contribute to dairy products to Kroger. But okay, so that's what's happened out there. That's an unofficial report, but that's what they were being told at that facility and in Clark County. So listen, these crews are going to be out all over the place because, you know, as Chris just mentioned a minute ago, we have more than 200,000 people that have lost power. Excuse me, 200,000 customers. More than 200,000 people are impacted by this. All right, a little warning cranked out a little deeper into eastern portions of Kentucky right now. This one goes all along the Mountain Parkway, and it's brand new. Goes all the way into Home Sweet Home for Chris and me. That takes it into Syersville. This warning is for Breathitt, Elliott, Lee, Magoffin, Morgan, and Wolfe counties, and that goes until 2:30. It's right now 1:56 in the morning. So what to prepare for if you are in these areas? Winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. And that will continue to kind of barrel toward you with those high winds and the potential of some heavy rain, brief heavy rain and some lightning. Now, here's the deal. There's not a lot of lightning left with it, but it could re-intensify, though, as it digs in a little bit deeper. But that's what we've got, that leading edge. And then you've got the one that goes all the way up into Rowan County as well. Rowan and Fleming also included in on that. And then on the southern flank of this, severe thunderstorm warning going into the night. For you folks in London, in Corbin, you're about to get a good gusty, it's not a thunder shower because we don't have a lot of lightning with it, but you're about to get another gusty round of rain that will move through there as the potential for up to 60 mile per hour winds still exists out there for you as well. And yeah, oh yeah, that's still a possibility.
And looking at the Conley Bottom situation, a lot of folks are down there are saying it may be in the what is known as the CC dock there at Conley Bottom.
CC dock, okay.
That may have taken had the roof collapse. Somebody on the scene says can't really tell what's going on because it's so dark, but hearing a lot of yelling, seeing a lot of flashlights. So,
well, that's a terrifying situation there.
Especially with heavy rain still continuing and everything else going on. So this is what is playing out right now. Conley Bottom into essentially right on the northern part of Wayne County.
Right there, yeah.
Mill Springs area, is that right?
Mill Springs, near Mill Springs, not that far away. Yeah.
And then also a lot of damage reports coming out of Mercer County.
And those places there along the lake, they're not easy to get to, Chris. You know, it's windy roads the whole way because you're going along the course of the way that the actual lake is shaped. So I mean, it's a very windy road. All of those roads down through there, you know, and they're very heavily wooded. So you get out there to a place like that, and it is it can be very, very tricky just to navigate to get from one point to the next. So. It might take crews a little bit of time to get things going again. But warning after warning now lining up, all severe. Nothing on the tornadic side, but all of this as we're going into the nighttime hours. I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, this is almost the time in the morning I wake up. Yeah, and you know that line, Jim, is much more jagged right now compared to what we had been seeing. And it is. But now what you're seeing is that the National Weather Service in Jackson. Hearing and seeing all the reports we're throwing out there of what these storms did in central Kentucky without warnings in some cases, being very proactive, and kudos to them. Getting the information out there, getting the warnings out. Absolutely. That's what we're seeing, and a whole bunch of them that continue. And what we always preach, Jim, is the whole purpose of a warning is to give people the notice before something happens. Yeah. If you wait until after you get a report of something happening, then you miss what a warning is all about. It's too late. You cannot wait until you get severe weather reports to issue some kind of a warning. And that's what's happened here. It took forever, like with the Mercer County warning earlier. All right, so the tornado watch, even more counties peeled off. I keep telling y'all that it's all about that leading edge. Once it clears it, you're good. We still have a little bit of time left with it. To make its way completely through our area and then go into Virginia, West Virginia. Once it's there, it's no longer an issue. It continues to weakening. Oh, and Chris, he's got a picture. Let's see. Yeah. From Conley Bottom, there you go. There's a picture
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. That came into my feed.
Am I seeing that? Like
you can see a lot of emergency lights. A lot of emergency lights there, and I can't really tell beyond that what's happening, but I do see, Jim, it looks like they brought in a lot of spotlights that it looks like they've been put up there.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Because they've got to get some light out there.
So they've brought in a lot of lights, it looks like. You can see maybe a little better picture over here on my feed, but it looks like they brought in some lights there.
Oh, they have. That's exactly what that is.
And some floodlights to get some light out there to see exactly what is going on. So that, I can imagine that's a chaotic scene playing out right there.
Oh, of course.
Middle of the night, Memorial Day, it's starting of Memorial Day, essentially the biggest lake in Kentucky, the most populated lake in Kentucky in terms of boaters on a day like this. And all of a sudden you got a roof collapse at a very popular dock, and boom, you got people trapped now.
Yeah, just like that.
So that's what we're looking at here into the Conley Bottom area. So I'm going to go down and look at just to see exactly if anything else is coming in from that. That's what, and that's what, I haven't been on camera for a little bit. I've been off because I want to dig in and just give folks reports on what's happening down there.
And getting the research done.
Yeah, doing some research over here.
Absolutely. So I'm manning the radar, and that's what we're going to show you now, the active radar situation here in Lexington. And here's the thing, here in Lexington, if you're awake with us, I know it's probably loud and you're getting the occasional thunder. I mean, we're still getting some over here every once in a while. And the rain is roaring on that roof, but the severe threats has gone away. You can go ahead and put your head down and take it easy for the rest of the night. But we continue to monitor warnings out in eastern parts of Kentucky, southern Kentucky as well. All kinds of areas that still have that potential. I'm going to zoom in on them here. Moorhead, it is right on top of you with those strong gusty winds. And just to reference another lake, again, I wouldn't hit lakes so hard if this hadn't have been. Yeah.
If this were February or March,
no,
you wouldn't be doing anything. If this were middle of summer, maybe
you're right,
you wouldn't be doing as much. But Memorial Day weekend, one of the busiest lake days of lake weekends of the entire year.
Period.
Yeah.
Nationwide. I had to go to Richmond the other day. I was on 75, and by the time I started counting, I counted 37 boats, because I kept seeing them. Like, man, I wonder how many are out here. And that's just one of those games when you're by yourself you play. So I know that people are going all over the place to go boating this weekend. Right there, Moorhead severe thunderstorm warning, Cave Run underneath that warning as well, with winds potentially up to 60 miles per hour. That's showing. We drop down a little bit more to the south. You go to Frenchburg too, there in Menifee County. And you all have it. Now, I'll tell you what, that's weakened quite a bit. That section has.
Yeah,
that section right there has a lot. Now, that Moorhead round, still kind of intense, but that Menifee County, it looks looking a little bit better for you. Same thing in Campton. You give a nice little gusty thunderstorm that could peak up to around 60, and that's right along the Mountain Parkway, too, and it's going to keep on traveling. You folks there in Hazel Green, get ready for it. Because it will be there very soon for you as well.
And Jim, that's the Red River Gorge.
That's the gorge. Yeah.
You may have some folks that are camping down there, or you have some campgrounds where you do have motorhomes there and campers, right?
Yeah, all kinds.
On a weekend like this, I know you spent some time down there.
Yeah, all over the place. And right now, if you tried to book this a week ago, you couldn't get it because they're full.
Yeah.
All these campgrounds are full. Tent campsites full. They have. The popular pizza place down there, Miguel's, they have camping, tent camping right behind Miguel's. It's right there. So that's one of the locations that could be about to get rocked and has been with some of that thunderstorm activity there along the parkway. So it's been going through there. Beattyville, Boonville under the warning, and that's pretty intense there around Sturgeon there. And then that is down in Owsley County. So, yeah, right there, pretty intense with it as well. That's what we have. Island City, and then dropping off to Manchester. Manchester got this little lonely shower. It kind of popped up pre-line, and that'll merge here soon. But that's got some juice to it, some heavier rain, and then we drop back off to the south. Barberville, you're in the clear at this moment, but the thunderstorm is coming your way. Corbin is under another doozy with at least 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. Same thing in Williamsburg. It's coming your way as well. And that's just kind of the rundown along the main line. Again, it's all about that line, Chris. Once that clears you, once this right here clears, you're in pretty good shape. So that warning in Pulaski County should go away here soon.
Yeah, I would imagine. And you know, you look at that overall line, and it is doing exactly like your future radar said it would do. Zip quicker into eastern Kentucky and then start to break up just a little bit.
And that's what's happening right now, and it's losing that intensity.
And it won't be, yeah, this tornado watch is never going to see the 6 a.m. expiration dates.
No, because we're at 2:06 right now. Yeah, and we've probably got another hour and a half of it in Kentucky, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would think so.
At least.
One of the models we looked at earlier literally said that the wind or the line would be out of Kentucky between shortly after 3 o'clock. I think it may have been the graph.
It did. I think
model.
you're right.
Yeah,
I was thinking back.
It said right around 3, between 3:30 or so, and that's probably what we're dealing with at this point.
And there you saw the warning drop off the back of that down there around Laurel County, actually, where I had the arrow pointing. The warning dropped off in Pulaski County, and then. Oh no. Oh no.
So now this is verified from who now before we go on with it? Okay, so this is confirmed through our newsroom of a fatality in Mercer County from tonight's storms. So yeah, tough news there out of Mercer County where apparently someone was killed tonight with those severe thunderstorms that made their way through Mercer County. Absolutely hate, Jim, to hear that.
Sounds like a tree fell into a home, and someone there lost their life. So that's a sad way to kind of to come down to this. But when you deal with weather like this, unfortunately, that's the reason we're on the air, is to make sure people are in the right place to stay safe. So that's why we continue to cover these events like this. So again, certainly sad to say that's the second fatality we've heard of today. Mayor Greenberg confirmed one in Louisville. Now we're getting that one from the coroner's office in Mercer County. So that's at least 2 that have died today that we know of. So we can see what happens from here, and a ton of property damage out there to go along with that. So it's certainly a deadly day in the Commonwealth because of severe weather.
Yeah, we were tracking those storms, and your heart goes out to the folks there and to Mercer County. Prayers up to that young lady's family. Obviously, here we are heading into our Memorial Day, our Monday, and all kinds of damage. A fatality now being confirmed out of Mercer County tonight from those storms. So, Jim, just absolutely tragic and heartbreaking, obviously.
It is. It's you and I both covered a lot of these that turn out like this, and that part's never easy when you find out that it did happen. Something like that. The reason we talk so much about it leading up to it, yeah, it's very sad. It's awful.
Yeah, it really is, and that's the area we started getting a lot of reports on over the past little bit, and just looking back on, where we were seeing, Jim, those 2 spins that were showing up in Mercer County. One was literally right on top of Harrodsburg. Another was into the northern part of Mercer County. And so we've had a lot of reports of extensive damage out of Mercer County from what may have been a brief tornado spin up during the time we were looking at those small scale rotations in Mercer County.
Yeah.
Absolutely, heartbreaking to hear of a young lady that lost her life tonight.
And that's right. That's where we are with this coverage. So now we continue to monitor some of our eastern counties for severe thunderstorms, producing up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's loud and very windy there in Moorhead, too. And I'm just trying to get an idea of how fast those winds are in Moorhead right now. And they're still gusting, at least getting us a good 40 to 50. They might be just below severe criteria. No, there's still some hints of it. There's still some hints of it there, especially east of Moorhead.
So even though it's looking a little ragged on radar, you still got some pretty good winds.
Yeah,
in there.
there's still that wind potential. Now, if it mixes and comes all the way down,
Yeah.
that's what we watch for. But the potential's there for it to be like that. I can guarantee it's at least 40 or so. And we continue to hear rumbles of thunder here long after the main line goes through. We're just not. What's out there now would have a very hard time turning into anything severe.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Most of that severe energy is going to be on this leading edge. And that's what we're tracking out there for you. And a big chunk of real estate covered in warnings again. You know, when you think back to those lines of warnings, at one time they went all the way up into Ohio when we were tracking them early today. And just north of Cincinnati up to Dayton. And then they curved back down just like this. The only thing missing is those one of those northern warning setups. But everything else on the southern side, active. Laurel County, Whitley County, Knox County, Clay County, Bell County, all rolling through those areas right now with numerous severe thunderstorm warnings out. Well, they're big clusters, but numerous counties included in these warnings.
Yeah. In eastern Kentucky, obviously it's your turn to deal with the waves of severe thunderstorms. You had one wave that rolled through there earlier today. We had that break during the evening. And then, boom, those storms have made their way right on top of the region. Yet again, damaging winds likely from all the counties you see shaded in the yellow. And, Jim, we're back to almost a continuous line. That small little sliver, only thing keeping that from being a continuous line of severe thunderstorm warnings from Moorhead back to areas, this time south of Jellicoe, Tennessee. So very similar overall evolution to the line of thunderstorms we're dealing with now compared to what we had late this morning and early this afternoon. Mm-hmm. This may not have the severity of it, but unfortunately it had some pockets in there that may have outperformed what we had earlier today.
That's what's happened here tonight. I mean, with this Colony Bottom situation, this situation there in Mercer County, you add a fatality into it, and then that just makes everything worse automatically. It really, really does. So that's where we are tonight, watching what's left of that line move through our area and likely still causing some issues out there. I'm going to show you all the tornado watch again, and the reason I keep going back to it is you'll see more counties get dropped off at any second, any minute, any 5-minute interval, any time. Pulaski's going to drop off. Rockcastle's going to drop off. Wayne County's going to drop off. You're going to be in the all clear as far as that's concerned from this line of thunderstorms here tonight that will go away. So that is some very welcome news. But we have to get through these, which I'm going to show you just the warnings. We have to get through these warnings before that happens. And you're seeing those green areas out to the west, Owensboro, down 165. That's all flood warnings, flash flood warnings, just different types. And they have steady rain that'll continue to keep the waters flowing out there. But as far as anything severe, there's nothing left. There's nothing left out there. See, I'll explain. I'll go all the way out. I mean, see, anything on the northern side of that is all flood related, Chris, and that's because of heavier rain from earlier in the day. The only tornado warning in the country right
back
now,
around Jackson, Tennessee.
It's right there. Yeah, I mean, that's the one you see. That's in between Memphis and Nashville, so just south of 40. But our warnings are right there, concentrated in eastern portions of Kentucky right now. And I'm going to throw up more radar data again to walk you through what's happening out there, as well as that line keeps rolling down the Mountain Parkway, keeps rolling along Interstate 64, and crosses I-75. Again, once that main line goes through, you are almost in the clear. It's still going to rain, and it's still going to be loud, but the severe risk drops off significantly.
It does, and you see those warnings, though, that continue to fire up from some of the same areas that were hard hit earlier in the day. Heavy rain behind this continues back into the Bluegrass region, all the way back into E-Town. Look at the lightning strikes associated with that. So we're seeing this line of severe thunderstorms now in about an hour or so, progressing across US 23 and out of Kentucky and over into West Virginia and southwestern parts of Virginia. So we aren't that far away from folks from finally sounding the all clear with what is going on across central and eastern Kentucky, really for the first time in about a 24-hour period. Because remember, that line of thunderstorms this morning that caused the damage, central and eastern Kentucky, started into far western Kentucky in the early morning hours, the pre-dawn hours, producing severe weather out there. So it has been a 24-hour period now, essentially, of waves of severe thunderstorms impacting Kentucky, with two distinct big lines of severe thunderstorms that have made their way across the region. We kind of bookended the day with severe weather and a similar setup with a line of thunderstorms this morning and early afternoon, producing all kinds of wind damage. We caught a little bit of a break this evening for folks to get out and take advantage of some part of their Sunday evening. And then we had that similar line of thunderstorms rotate on through during the late evening hours, western Kentucky, into the wee hours of this morning across central and eastern parts of the region. So there you go with those severe thunderstorm warnings that are out for a number of counties. Williamsburg, Corbin, London, we're in this, Manchester, Barberville. We've called a lot of these same areas, one right after another for the better part of the day. And then you've got another round of severe weather, just that small little piece of real estate right in between without any kind of a warning in that. Kind of the nerd in me just says, oh, let's just put those two together. But you've got the severe threat right now into Winchester, or I should say, well east of Winchester, West Liberty, in heading towards Salyersville, right on top of the Red River Gorge, Natural Bridge, State Resort Park, Jackson, Beattyville, and Boonville. And here's that small little piece of real estate that Jim's just going to zoom in on,
because
near Buckhorn.
It just dawned on me that you've got Buckhorn Lake up there, another lake.
Oh,
area.
another lake.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's right there. And I'll zoom in a little tighter. You can see it. I mean, right there it is. Not as vast, but a lot of people from around that area, they will go and they will hit it wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, it's another one of those things. So there's not a warning, but it's about to get rough out there as well. You have to go through a couple of counties just to get to the lake. So it's out there. It takes a minute or 20 to make that trek through there. Alexa handed me this note just a second ago, and let me pull it back up here. So far, total deaths from this system today, in the past 24 hours, it's now up to 19 confirmed fatalities from Texas to Arkansas to Oklahoma to Louisville, and of course right here in our area out in Mercer County. So the deaths, it's again
tragic
in the past 24 hours from this weather. And of course I don't know all the scenarios on how they happen, but I know that it's been a rough day out there when you start throwing out numbers. 7 people died in Cook County, Texas today.
Yeah. You know, it's been an incredibly stormy spring. That much we know across the country. I mean, one of the more active tornado-producing springs you're ever going to see across the lower 48. And it obviously continues out there this evening. Now, thankfully, as we go through the next several days and the closing days of May, we're shutting off the severe weather machine for much of the country as we go cooler than normal.
Really cool. Yeah,
we're going to get really. We're likely to see the 40s for lows in the final 2 mornings of May.
I don't know right off the top of my head. You're better with these stats than I am because you can think of them faster. What's a record for that time of year for a low?
Oh, it would be low 40s.
Low 40s?
Low 40s, yeah.
And we're not seeing that, but it's the fact that you're getting there.
Right. I think early June we're low 40s for that. Late May, early June we're low 40s. I think in Lexington there are only let's see, it's only June, July, and August where we've never had temperatures in the 30s.
Really? That's
it.
impressive.
It's only
June,
3
July,
months.
and August.
Yep.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's
We've
summer,
had late
so,
September.
yeah.
We've had May frosts and freezes. We've had September early frosts and freezes in the end of the month, but we've only 3 months have we never had below 40 degrees, and that would be June, July, and August.
And I mean, that works. I mean, that's meteorological summer anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's that stretch.
Now,
there.
I do believe in early June we have hit 40 before as the lowest temperature, but we did not get below that. So still tracking those severe thunderstorms rumbling to the east now of London and Corbin, and looking at the latest mesonet sites down there. Jim, you know, that part of the state, by the way, is a void of mesonet sites. We got to correct that. We need one in Laurel County. We don't have a mesonet site from Laurel County east through Clay County, Leslie County, Knox County. I mean, there's one in southern Knox County, I believe, but goodness, that whole corridor from Hazard to London is void of data from the Kentucky Mesonet.
And we need that. That's what's helped, you know, the state of Oklahoma, one of the pioneers in that program, you know, that has helped tremendously on getting accurate reporting out there for it because it has so many observation points. I think it's in every Oklahoma county, isn't it, now out there?
I think so.
We're getting close.
Oh, yeah. The power outages, we were just being told that Muhlenberg County, by the way, has 17,000 customers. More than 16,000 are without power.
And that's the story of the night. Yeah.
So again, Kentucky, we're under a disaster declaration now, state of emergency, declared earlier by Governor Beshear. So this will, you know, on this holiday and then through the next few days, Jim, obviously that's going to free up some resources, probably the National Guard, to go out and help with cleanup and recovery, because now with 200,000+ customers without electric and on a holiday, it's going to be a multi-day event getting the electric back on across Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to take the better part of the week for some parts of the state.
Because some of these crews are gone, you know. I mean, they're off, and they hadn't planned to be there, so that's exactly what it is. I've just been sent a video of maybe the moment the lightning struck Huffman and Huffman. I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what it says. Yeah, this couple lived right behind them there. Huffman and Huffman, of course, the ophthalmology down there.
So they caught maybe the
caught the streak,
lightning strike that hit caused the big fire there in London.
Yeah. So I'm just seeing that. And for those of you that have messaged Chris and me and the rest of us, we'll try our best to get back, and it's just overwhelming to try to get all the information back out there. We just check and see as much as we can, but we appreciate your reports, and we'll do what we can, and we're going to have to send crews out all over the place tomorrow to get to this.
And again, our breaking, sad, tragic news out of Mercer County of a lady who was killed tonight by the storms as those powerhouse storms rolled across Mercer County, causing a lot of wind damage and unfortunately taking at least one life tonight. And that's tragic news, Jim. That's, for us, that's heartbreaking. We try to do everything we can to get the word out of severe weather, and at the end of the day, that's really what we're here for, to try and keep people safe.
Right. Earlier in the day, we showed a video of a sign at Legacy, a car dealer down there in Corbin, that it blew up. The sign literally blows out. You see it on camera. But now what I'm seeing, Chris, and I'm going to try to get these pictures up here in just a second so we can show them on TV. As that wind went through, it turned the vehicles around that were on the car lot. A bunch of heavy trucks. I mean, look at them. And again, I'm going to try to get these so you all can see them at home.
Oh, yeah.
It literally spins them around.
That's probably a weak tornado.
So it could have been.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think that we had some pictures from that too of some pine trees where were just snapped.
Right off the top.
Right off the top, just boom, sheared.
Yep.
So very possible that was a tornado that touched down in Corbin. As a matter of fact, Jim, thinking back now at that moment, we zoomed in and you could see a little gate-to-gate shear showing up there. And Jim, there's a tornado warning. popping in. That is into southeastern Whitley County, southern Whitley County, southern Knox County, and into southwestern parts of Bell County. So, all right, let's get after it and see what we're dealing with here. And that, you know, looking at that, Jim, it's eerily similar to a tornado warning that was issued for that same area 12 hours ago. Give or take a little bit. So we are showing that tornado warning that is right on top of southern parts of Whitley County, just to the south of Williamsburg, between Williamsburg and Jellicoe. That would be around the Saxton area, Jim. That's what we're dealing with there. And here is your tornado warning, the red polygon that includes Saxton right on top of Interstate 75. Jellicoe, it's right there near the border, but this is going to continue to progress toward the east. So chances are that little weak tornado is essentially right on top of Saxton and heading toward the east. So tornado sirens very likely to start blaring shortly into Whitley County, into southern Knox County, and into the western part of Bell County. This is the second tornado warning of the day for some of these same areas. Bell County and southern parts of southeastern Whitley County. Southern Knox County, we had a couple of tornado warnings, I believe, a little earlier in the day, too. This is the Pearl area. And right on top of 904, Williamsburg, we're just to the north of this potential tornado. This is a radar-indicated tornado that is working its way quickly now across Interstate 75. And going to continue to take aim at western parts of Bell County. We'll slow this down, we'll hit the now button, and then we'll look and see what we can find in this. And this is one of those that, to be honest with you, the radar site down at Morristown, Tennessee is probably a little closer to this and gives us a better view than what the National Weather Service radar out of Jackson is showing. But this is one of those, again, that's kind of out in no man's land in a radar void just a little bit. But it's a little closer, I believe, to Morristown, Tennessee. But here would be that little weak rotation that is showing up south of Saxton, right on top of Interstate 75 with Jellicoe here. You've been in this area, you know, you got the Welcome Center down here, you got a lot of traffic that sometimes gets really backed up trying to get across the mountain sometimes if there's any kind of a slowdown there. But that is what we are dealing with. So if you're watching us right now into Whitley County, probably about this moment, the tornado sirens are going off. Maybe into Knox County, Bell County as well. Those tornado sirens are going off. This is not for downtown Williamsburg. This is for the southern part of Whitley County, and including the community of Saxton, and that's going to continue toward Pearl. So it will be the far southern part of Whitley County. So we're waking up right now, probably in freak out mode a little bit. Let's face it, it's 2:30 in the morning, I guess, with tornado sirens going off. Just take a deep breath. We're going to be all right. We're going to watch this storm that has this possible tornado here near Saxton. Nothing confirmed, but it would be right on top of Interstate 75. So let's get to our storm shelter, our safe place. We got a basement here, southern part of Whitley County, over into southern Knox County and Bell County. Got a little more time to get there, but let's go ahead and hustle and get there. Let's ride this thing out. We'll get through this in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Hopefully this is nothing that is expansive that we're seeing. The rotation with that is not the strongest in the world, so we got that going for us. But seek that safe shelter. Safest place is a basement. And if we don't have a basement, we're going to get to the lowest floor possible. Interior room on that first floor. We're going to evacuate all mobile homes. And above all else, we're going to protect our head. I know you're thinking, wait a minute, weather dude, what am I going? We're in a mobile home. It's 2:30 in the morning. Where are we going? It's dark out. If you got a neighbor that is maybe nearby, you got some family, they're more of a secure structure. Let's just try to wake them up, walk over there, and let's get in the basement with them. All right, let's do something like that. We want to protect our head above all else. Most fatalities, most injuries from tornadoes occur from flying debris. So this is the point of the program where we tell you to protect your head above all else. And this is one that we drive home the fact, Jim. And people have kind of taken this on. Now, we protect our head by putting on anything. A hard hat, which we got our own personalized hard hats from Bullard, but baseball helmet, football helmet, bicycle helmet. I don't care how silly we look. We're going to put it on because this may be a lifesaver in a tornado. So again, protecting your head is the number one priority after you find that safe shelter, or if you're heading to that safe shelter. You know what? Protect the noggin, kiddos, because this may wind up saving your life. Jim, what are you seeing right now?
I am seeing. I'm trying to get those pictures up, so Michael can pull them up for us.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what I'm working on.
Multitasker.
Right now. Yeah, trying to go through that just as quickly as possible and give credit where credit is due. So, wow, that really pulsed up with the lightning. Look at the strikes that are associated with it. That tells you that it's intensified, and now you've got it. I mean, it's just loaded up there, headed right toward Middlesboro. And you know what? There were a whole bunch of reports that came out through Bell County earlier with the tornado warning we had earlier. I mean, it rolled right in there, had all kinds of storm reports, and I never did see anything that actually confirmed a tornado. But, you know, they still have to do some surveys. They're going to find these damage, these sporadic spots, and they're going to go out there and they're going to actually judge it. You know, I mean, they go out and there are certain guidelines they look for and way things are laying that determine whether it was a tornado or not, and the magnitude of said tornado. That's how you get the EF scale, the enhanced Fujita scale, from 0 to 5, and that's what they'll do. They'll go out there and do that.
Yeah, and that tornado warning, Jim, we put the particulars on there. It goes until 2:45, so it's a short fuse tornado warning. It's got about 13 minutes left on that or so, and does include a small part of southern Whitley County, small part of far southern parts of Knox County, and gets over into the western tip of Bell County as well. And for each of those, I think, Jim, that has been the each county, if I'm not mistaken, has had at least 2 tornado warnings on the day. Each of those counties,
through
right?
there, yeah, that's right. Absolutely, they have. Yeah, right through there. You know, at one time they were double-decker. If you remember, we had one to the north and one to the south. But right now, there it goes. I mean, you see it, 245 for all of those areas, and most of it is going to be in Whitley County, is what it looks like, as far as that warning is concerned, where there would be an indication of some spin, and then you got Whitley County. Or from Whitley over to Knox and Bell. Bell's going to be right there, and they're going to have some of the strongest potential as well. And then you go into southern Knox County, and it's also going to have its own kind of flair. But I think if it's going to spin in one of those spots as well. So that's what we are looking at. It's already past I-75, so you're not talking about a major roadway, but you're talking about a lot of folks that live here and there in those scattered communities from the interstate all the way over toward the Middlesboro area. The population does pick up.
Yeah, it does, and again, this is a short fuse tornado warning, and you know, this is one of those where, in all likelihood, Jim, you had a brief look of a little bit of spin showing up with this that may have kind of come and gone as the lightning on the Kentucky side of that has decreased substantially, with a little more lightning showing up there into Jellicoe, Tennessee. But again, it's not the greatest spin in the world, but there's just a little bit here to the east of Interstate 75, the Saxton area, that is rolling its way toward the east. That is south of the Williamsburg area. So again, tornado sirens, chances are they're going off across county-wide into Whitley County. This is not for Williamsburg. It's not for Corbin. This is for the far southern part of Whitley County, far southern parts of Knox County, and the far west side of Bell County, with it's a small little bit of a spin, Jim, that is showing up here right on top of the Kentucky-Tennessee border counties. And this thing is slowly quickly rolling its way to the east. There's nothing slow about these storms now. They're kind of motoring through there. But you know, you look at this and there's just a little hint again of that spin showing up to the east of Interstate 75. And that's going to continue to roll its way on through.
Right. That's what's happening. You're just going to have to watch that Bell County line here next. I'm not as concerned with the way this is going, Chris. I'm not as concerned about southern Knox. I mean, it's going to be windy and all that, but yeah, I'm more concerned about that trajectory going straight into Bell again. Which
would be right in here, the Bell County, and that tornado. Pineville is here, Middlesboro right here. We're not included in that. This is just to our west. But again, there you go, Jim, with that little bit of a notch showing up very close to Saxton. Now it's on the eastern side of I-75. A little bit ago, it was right on top of 75. That continues to make its way toward the east. And you could tell we're getting into higher terrain here. Obviously, we're into the mountains of southeastern Kentucky, but you can see on our radar image here where you got a little bit of a bumpy ride showing those mountains now with the reflectivity that we're seeing. So if we are to get a little weak tornado, there you go, good vantage point of the mountains. But if we are getting a weak spin up here, Jim, it is to the east of Saxton, rolling its way toward Pearl and 190 south of 904, eventually getting into the western part of Bell County, for the most part, south of the Knox County line, we believe, right?
That's what we're thinking. And, you know, unless it takes that little bit of a jog to go toward the north a little bit more. But again, I saw on the track here, the Frakes community included again. They were one of the communities we were watching, you know, earlier when we had the warning earlier in the day. So there's that. Then again, it does include the city of, for the folks there in, let me drop that for you, just outside the city of Middlesboro. So it bumps right up against you, but I would certainly pay attention to what's happening if you're down there or you know somebody that's down there. To definitely be prepared for a little bit of spin, because there's a little bit of spin still indicated there. It was about 9 miles south of Williamsburg when they first caught it, and it's moving around 35-40 miles per hour. The trajectory, the forward motion, not the actual storm itself. That's how it's moving. It's moving to the east at that kind of rate of speed. So these are a little slower than the ones that were out here earlier today. But overall, that's what's happening. I mean, you're getting to a weaker point anyway, in the whole setup as it starts to kind of come down to that level. But nonetheless, tornado warning is out for that area right there. And you can see the line of thunderstorms goes all the way up into just outside of Ashland, and then back down into that corner of southeastern Kentucky where it's a tornado warning. The first one, is that the first one we've had in this line?
It is the first one that we have had in our area with this, yes.
With this line, it is, it right? Yeah,
it is.
It is. That's what I thought.
Even though we may very well have had a tornado or two, Mercer County especially hard hit earlier, and we were picking up on two distinct spins that were showing up on our radar, Jim, with those storms that unfortunately, you know, we've now got the confirmed one fatality. A young lady lost her life into Mercer County a little earlier with those storms that made their way through Mercer County, Harrodsburg, Bergen, especially hard hit from earlier. And Jim, that was the first spin that we were looking at with that storm was directly on top of Harrodsburg. When we pinpointed that, maybe just to the west, and then rolled its way to the east toward Bergen, which is just a few miles east of Harrodsburg itself. And I think that is the corridor where you had the worst of the damage that is being reported. Fairly extensive damage reports coming out of Mercer County right now. And unfortunately, obviously, the life that was lost tonight as well.
And that's just what piles onto it. That's the worst part of this. But again, it sounds like a tree got into a house, fell into a house. You know, we've seen plenty of that today already in other places, for sure, that have been out there. Michael, I've finally on Facebook posted those pictures from Legacy down there in Corbin. And if you can pull up the Facebook account, I know it's there. It was signed in earlier, somebody's was, so we can get there. So if we can pop it up, I want to show this to you because I want to show you how these cars are turned. These trucks, these heavy trucks that weigh, you know, close to 10,000 pounds, or maybe more. I can't see the exact models of them. But on the meteorologist Jim Caldwell Facebook page, I just posted a bunch of pictures. That's where they are. And what you'll find is, there we are, there we go. So look at that. Now, those were parked like normal, like that black GMC you see there.
They were parked in their spots.
They were parked in their spots. That one is actually pushed over the curb. That one is as well, as you see. So the sign is right there above it, all right? You see that white pole off in this, that sign the big part of it was blown out. You can see the wires hanging from it. So what makes me think that this was a tornado, Chris, is because from the way I've been looking at the video from earlier, and Mike will be able to find that too down that page here in a second. You can see the sign itself kind of blow up as the wind goes through, but it's the opposite. It's going the opposite way. The explosion. You'll see some big sparks, and the cars are pointing the other way. So that's what makes me think there might have been some spin through there, and it was a warned area at that time.
It was.
Too.
There was a tornado warning that came out, and we zoomed in on Corbin itself, and you could see a couplet that was really right on top of the city of Corbin.
Yeah.
And if we were going to get a tornado from that, it was going to drop right on top of Corbin. Now we fast forward to where we are now. That was earlier.
Extension on the tornado warning.
That now includes Middlesboro and Pineville with that tornado warning. So, Jim, National Weather Service extending that on out a little bit. Here's the video from earlier, and Jim, walk us through this, what we're seeing here.
All right, yeah. Now, I put it into a slow-mo. Now watch that sign explode. There it goes. So that's one way. The trucks are beneath it, okay? And what ends up happening is they end up looking back toward that camera view. From what I've been able to tell from that perspective. Again, you see the sign blow, all right? That's the legacy sign. And then the cars are right down there beside the trucks, excuse me, and they start pointing back toward the camera. So went one way to blow the sign out.
To blow the sign out, and the trucks
were
pointed
the other way.
Yeah.
So that would be a sign that Weather Service folks would look for when they do the assessment.
Right.
To see how they were pointing.
Yeah, very interesting to see. Back to the current tornado warning that was just extended. Jim, let's put let's see how long this goes until the overnight. But Pineville and Middlesboro, we are both included in this tornado warning extension. That includes a part of Bell County and Knox County. That was the original tornado warning that goes until 3, and now they've just extended this on out a little deeper, I believe, until 3 for some of the same area. Although Whitley County, we're almost to get rid of this storm, but again, there's just a little bit of spin showing up down here, Jim, as this works its way on through. You know, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, wait a minute, didn't we did something very similar in this same area a couple months ago? Was it April 2nd when they kept issuing those tornado warnings for Harlan County and Bell County, one right after another with each little cell that came through there, and there was one that really had nothing with it. But this is kind of the no man's land with the radar view. But again, if you're in Pineville, you're in Middlesboro, yeah, the tornado sirens were already going off. They're going off into Whitley County, Knox County as well. Williamsburg, we are not included in this. I see severe thunderstorm warning going up for just about every other county around this into eastern Kentucky with this line. We want to get rid of this line, get it on out of here. Good riddance. We've had enough severe weather to last us for the rest of the year, and maybe another year too, especially considering where we've been over the past 5 years. It's been a really, really damaging severe weather kind of era we are in here in Kentucky. And so that tornado warning for Pineville, for Middlesboro, back into southern parts of Knox County and a small part of eastern Whitley County now. Southeastern Whitley County going to take us until the top of the hour of 3 a.m. with that new warning that is out. And Jim, what we can do, if we can settle this down a little bit, maybe take the view down just a smidge, and let's look inside, see what kind of rotation that we can find with this. Because again, you're in no man's land for those radar beams that kind of are shooting over top of the lower levels, which we would want to look at anytime you're dealing with any tornado potential. So that would be right back in here into southeastern parts of Whitley County. And I mean, there's some broad maybe rotation in there. Is it anything that is real significant? At least not on the radar. But again, Jim, is that a product of the radar overshooting? You know, shooting much higher than what you would want to see at the lower levels. I don't know.
Right, but now this was radar indicated. It wasn't spotted. I mean, there's no, so that's what it was. But it was indicated that there was some rotation embedded within it, and that started right about 13 miles southeast of Williamsburg. So it was located over Pearl when they issued this new addition to the warning, Chris.
Yeah, and that's
we talked about that. Yeah, that community.
And that's just going to keep on rolling toward the east. And, you know, I'm looking at the, you look at the radar out of Morristown, Tennessee. It gives you a little better view. You could see just maybe a little more of a broader rotation down there with that. So you can definitely see the eastward extension of that tornado warning, and then the severe thunderstorm warning goes all the way to Jenkins. Hazard included in that as well. So far southeastern Kentucky dealing with that.
Let me back out. Hey, there you see. Oh yeah, that's a big blanket of a warning
on the southern edge of that line. Northern edge is really kind of weakened. So thankfully, farther north that we get.
Population of Middlesboro, around 9,000 people live in the city proper. Up in Pineville, you've got about 1,700 people or less. So that's, you're talking more than 10,000 people in those two communities, which are the, kind of the metropolitan area, just so to speak, of that those spots. That's where you find the best concentration of people would be between those two cities, and they're both in the tornado warning. Now, there are also a lot of people that will live in between as well, Middlesboro and Pineville, but you can see them connected there on the map, connected by 25, and right there's Pineville. Right there's Middlesboro, and right here's our concern as it's now digging deeper into Bell County along 190 there, and continues to kind of spin its way through that area to possibly produce a tornado. Certainly indicated on radar, and I know a lot of people, they'll say, oh, it's the mountains. It's if there's a tornado there, it's going to be fine. Well, no, they can travel up and down those mountains. We've learned that in many hard ways. Over the past, especially 10, 15 years here, going back, 12 years especially, specifically, when we go back to 2012, as we watch those tornadoes rip and roar over mountains from Morgan County to Magoffin and to Johnson with that fatal event. So, yes, they can move in those areas because you can see the terrain. All those little bumps you see that Chris was talking about earlier, how you've got the topographic features,
and you can even see the
right
valleys
there.
on this new earth that we have to show you on our radar.
Oh yeah, you can see them in a big way. So that's what's happening right now. And you know what? I'm going to do something here for you, just to show you. Yeah, there we go. You can see how the ground shifts, and how you got the mountains all around that. And then you can also see how Middlesboro is in a crater. It's down in a crater from meteorites. It's a bowl shape down there, and that's what they are known for. I mean, you can look at all around it, how it's like that. But anyway, tornado warning still in effect for that area, Chris.
Yeah, and reports of a lot of trees down, some damage back into London, Laurel County yet again for the second time today with that line that has made its way through. So Laurel County, we had a lot of wind damage earlier, and you got another round of some wind damage reports that are out there tonight, courtesy of this latest line of storms. Even a tree that's on a residence there in the city limits of London. No injuries, thankfully, have been reported from that. So that is certainly something we appreciate, or we are fortunate to hear. We never want to have any kind of damage. Certainly don't want to have any kind of injuries whatsoever.
That's why we're here. I mean, that's what we're on. That's why we're sitting here still talking. As we want to try to tell you on what to do to keep you safe. And that's why we're hanging out here at 3 o'clock in the morning on Memorial Day to try to do just that, to try to keep that information flowing for you. So.
Yeah. And we're still watching this tornado warning that is out now into much of just about all of Bell County, included in that. Middlesboro, here's Pineville. This is 25E. That spin is just now crossing out of Whitley County and into western parts of Bell County. That would be along 190, just to the south of 92, 74 here, and that is essentially right on toward Middlesboro. The southern edge of that is where the best chance for a little spin up is showing up, and that is right here crossing just to the south of the Siler area, south of 92. This would be not Bath County, but the Middlesboro area, and over into sections of Pineville into Bell County. Coming up shortly, that's that possible tornado, Jim, crossing out of Whitley County. The first rotation really started west of Saxton and is now crossing out of Whitley County and into western parts of Bell County. Important to note that nothing has been spotted or confirmed. This is a radar indicated tornado that the National Weather Service is seeing with that. They're looking at the same stuff we're looking at winds inside this particular thunderstorm and dealing with a little bit of enough rotation for them to initially put out that warning and now to extend it all the way through all of Bell County over toward the TJ area as well. Pineville and Middlesboro both included in that. So I would imagine a lot of folks are nervous right now because those tornado sirens blaring at 3 o'clock in the morning, never a good thing, jarring a lot of people out of bed, their phones going off with the alert tones and everything. Just no reports of a tornado with this, folks, right now, but we are watching this. Just take a deep breath with me. We'll get through this. And as we watch that storm continue to make its way on through.
We will, yeah. It's getting close. It's getting close for sure. And what we have right there, you can see Middlesboro. You can see going into, man, Pineville really not getting hit that hard with
No, this is more Middlesboro.
Yeah, it's more of a Middlesboro thing as I'm looking at it and readjusting. I'm going to readjust this map. Whitley County, you're clear. All right, you're clear. It's gone. It's all about what's left over in Bell County now. As we scan the skies, you can see a little update coming through with that storm, and then getting awfully close, to bump right up against that Harlan County line here too. So that's our warning. That's our tornado warning, and that right there is the best concentration of thunderstorms. And Chris, if you remember on all that future radar data, it tried to blow up that southern extent of this.
It did. Yeah, it did.
It did. So, I mean, it had a good
While the northern edge of it was fading, the southern edge just had one more breath in it.
Yeah, and there you go. That back side of that warning dropped just then, as we were saying.
Yeah, so Whitley County, we're in the clear. Knox County, we're in the clear. This is now the only tornado warning that is left, Jim, is into Bell County.
That's it. And
that's only got a 7 more minutes, top of the hour, 3 o'clock?
Yeah, we're closing in on it, yeah. And
the rotation was never the best in the world, but it's probably fairly broad right now. And again, you get a better view of this coming out of the Morristown, Tennessee National Weather Service radar.
That's where you'll get the best data.
Because we're closer to that site at this point. And even there, it's not the greatest in the world.
I mean, you're still shooting over a mountain.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're getting that. But yeah, there is certainly some there. It's very broad. It's kind of wide open there, but closer to the city of Middlesboro, just to the north of them, but it's there. So that's what we're getting. That's what we're getting out of that one right there. Let me drop that so I can move you around a little bit more. But there it is. There's a tornado warning. That does include Middlesboro and Pineville, the two population meccas of all of Bell County. And I mean that. I mean, that's where you find the best concentration of people living close to each other in those two areas. And then you go on out into the county, and it becomes just like every other county. Outside of Fayette County, the population drops off significantly. Once you get outside of the downtown area, it becomes very sparse. It's hit and miss. You find a little bit here, a little bit there, a house there, a house there. That's what happens. You go to Fayette and Jefferson County, and you get into even Warren County. But I'm just saying, to give you an example, that's what you're going to find. You're going to find the population drops off in a hurry out there in those spots. But what we have is that storm right there, watching it evolve and move through that area. So that's what I've got. And I'm also looking at that severe thunderstorm, and that's going to extend deeper into the folks there in Harlan County. And that's all the same little batch there. And even for Hazard, too, that's on the northern side of it. And that northern side, see, it goes all the way up there. So when they issued this warning, they're going with 60-mile-per-hour potential wind gusts. That's kind of the trigger to get the warning out. And then that goes all the way through Whitesburg and through Knott County. And it's about to get as rough as it's going to get for you in Hazard. It's about to do that within the next 3 to 5 minutes. So this is as bad as it's going to be for you. And Hyden, you're right there in the thick of it. And then we go back down to Bell County. And that's as bad as it's going to be for you as that continues on through the area. And then you got Barberville that's in the clear now. Yeah, I know you've had plenty of activity out there today, but right now you have, you're in the clear. I mean, a much better situation. And, I just saw the picture you just emailed around.
Oh, yeah.
So we're working to get that, I'm sure. But wow, well, we've got a picture that's coming in from Conley Bottom here in just a second. You also can see the damage that happened down there. There it is.
Yeah, there you go. Picture out of Conley Bottom, one that we just had sent to us a little bit ago. Jim, showing that part of the roof collapse there onto some of the boats. So yeah, that's obviously it's not a good sight to see, and obviously if you've got some boats that are trapped under that, going to be a bit of a busy Memorial Day, and not the way you thought it was going to be, right?
That's right. I'm noticing right there on the one that's closest to us there on the right-hand side, the lights are on. Red lights, they had party lights or whatever you want to call them. That's what they call them, something like that. That makes me think maybe somebody was on that boat.
Somebody was on the boat, yeah.
When that happened, and they didn't get a chance to turn them up, because I'm sure a lot of people went back. They were sitting around, doing what you do. You sit around and you hang out with people there, even as it's docked. So yeah, that's a very scary situation, especially with knowing that many people could have been up and down through there. Right,
absolutely. And these storms, Jim, have the calling card has been widespread wind damage. Both the early day and the late day lines of severe thunderstorms, some embedded tornadoes, very likely to be confirmed when the National Weather Service get their survey teams out. I would imagine the two areas locally that are going to be surveyed first, or probably should be, Mercer County and Corbin. Those two areas.
Yes.
And then third, maybe Conley Bottom. What we're looking at right there.
Yeah.
So, those will be areas where we will get surveys done to see if we had straight line wind damage or we had tornado spin-ups. That tornado warning, by the way, that is still out into Bell County is in its last couple of minutes, unless that somehow gets extended. I can't believe it's going to. At this point, the storm into parts of Bell County has even lost the lightning with that for the most part. The cell down into Tennessee looks like it is the stronger cell by far now.
Look at that, a big old cell going out there or a big old warning going out. You said cell and I got locked in on that word. Big old warning now out going toward Knoxville, Tennessee. And that just makes me, think about folks that could be out toward Gatlinburg and places like that. You see that? There's Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
A lot of people hitting that place up too, them and Pigeon Forge and Sevierville, but nothing active for them right now. But that's north of it, and that's coming. So if you know somebody that's down there, they're about to get rough. And again, I keep talking about being in unfamiliar places. We know these places well, but do we know where to go if there's bad weather? I know exactly where to go if I'm at my house. I know where to go if I'm here. I know where I should be going. But do you know when you're in a place like that? So again, big weekend for everybody to be traveling. And as you know, as we saw with that picture from Conley Bottom, a lot of people down there too. And again, just trying to have a good time, because it is a weekend that a lot of people do that. But severe weather came calling, unfortunately, and it had a nasty call down there with all that damage. And there are so many pictures and so many reports that we have received. We can't get to every single one of them. We can't share every single picture on the air with y'all because we can't get them processed fast enough. We try to get the ones that show us the most significant damage that are telling part of the story. So we're trying to get as much out there so you can understand what's been going on and the reason we've been on the air. We've been on the air since 10 o'clock. We started on the CW Lexington, and then we did news, and then from 11:35 on, we've been right here on television and streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and through the WKYT News app.
Tornado warning is now officially done. I just got, by the way, and we'll wrap up our coverage in a minute now that all the warnings are expiring, but I just got video from from Conley Bottom video from a houseboat pier. So we could pull that up. You could see pretty good winds with that and everything from what looks like a blink camera down there. So we'll pull that up and see what this looks like. But yeah, winds are rocking and rolling with this. If whenever it's on my Twitter feed, by the way, or X or whatever we want to call it nowadays.
Well, Elon wants you to call it Twitter.
Okay.
I mean X. Elon wants you to call it X.
Elon wants us to call it X. It'll always be